Hello, and welcome to Reclaim, Reset, Realign, the online virtual summit here to help you rediscover yourself and build for a better week, month, and year. Because for 2022, as I like to say, it's all about all things new. Hello and welcome. My name is Kai, and I will be your moderator for today, day one, on this powerful summit. We have some amazing speakers who are going to be joining us over the next 2 days. And if you stay right here with us over the next 3 hours, I'm sure you will walk away inspired. You will walk away with new ideas. You will walk away with new connections. And so I really encourage you to just relax. If this moment is here right now and you haven't got everything that you need in terms of your cup of tea, maybe your water, maybe your pen and notepad, I urge you strongly to go grab that and get comfortable, because the next few hours are going to be really juicy and jam-packed with some great information. Now, I'm based here in Dubai in my living area, actually. I must say my hometown. Do I call it my hometown now? Let's see. But I'm here in my living area in Dubai. And I've been here for the best part of 5 years. About a week or two ago, it was actually my 5th year anniversary, and it's an incredible place to be. My journey, however, started in London, and I can tell you lots more about that when we are live tomorrow, because I'll be speaking as one of the first guests. Now, whilst I have been here, I have met some powerful women that you are going to be hearing from. And I just had to have everyone come together to share their knowledge and expertise, because along all of our journeys, I'm based here in Dubai, but a few of the women are based in Abu Dhabi. And it's been an incredible one. And it's not just about being in the Middle East, not at all. Whether you are based in London, whether you are based in Germany, whether you are tuning in from Canada or the USA, we are really grateful, because the things that we've learned whilst we've been here along our journeys, as well as in our career paths, different areas, from wealth and finance, we have Lydia Andrews. Talking about purpose, we have Marcia McLeod. Talking about your passion and your purpose and creativity, we have the energetic EJ. We have got Cordelia Henry, who is going to be talking to us about how to build our tribe and connect as powerful women, because really it is all in that connection. And last but not least, have I forgotten anyone? Or maybe that's myself. I will be speaking tomorrow, telling everyone all the things that I have been able to learn on this path. But as I mentioned, all of us here, I say that because so many of us have come together, and no matter what area of our lives that we've been in, we've come across some kind of struggle, some kind of busyness, some kind of overwhelm, some kind of pain that we really understood has gotten us to the point where we are today. So we want to share all the different gems, and of course share our expertise in our respective areas. I'm sure if you want to get your coins up, you are going to want to listen and stay tuned for Lydia. But just generally, we would love for everyone to come together and really learn and connect. My goodness, how could I forget? We have the amazing Akuya, who's going to be talking to us about her travel journeys, not just here in the UAE, but she has been to 69 different countries. Yes, 69 different countries. So whilst her base is here, and also like myself being from the UK, she has been able to learn so much, and she wants to share what she's been up to and how she has left from being in a full-time role to now going to find her dreams and passion and building her business Dream Catcher. So if you have itchy feet and you're thinking about leaving where you are, perhaps you're thinking about coming to the UAE, or maybe you actually just want to work remotely, that is something that is huge right now. And so many of us, quite rightly, are working from wherever we are and finding ways to monetize and make money. Well, you are definitely going to want to tune in and hear the amazing Akuya, aka Teresa Powell, who will be speaking and sharing all of the gems that she has picked up and how she has managed to launch her new business, the Dreamcatcher. So If you are watching and you're nice and comfortable, okay, I've done my nice little intro, but we would love to know where you are from. Where are you based right now? What are you doing? What are you up to? We are very, very grateful that you've tuned in on time. But if you have a friend who registered, or even somebody that you're thinking, do you know what? They need to be on this. Share the link now and encourage them to join. The next 3 hours are going to be jam-packed. So, of course, you have me for the next few minutes, but up and coming, we have the amazing Marcia McLeod, who has been here for 22 years. Not in Dubai, but in Abu Dhabi. And she has some incredible things that she is going to be able to share with us. So, if you're watching and you're comfortable and your friends are here, great. But if there's anyone that comes to mind, anyone that you're thinking, you know what, I haven't spoken to them in a little while, I'd love to reach out to them. This is the kind of thing they'd like. This is what they need to hear. They need some inspiration. Hit the share button and share it with them now. Because honestly, this is probably one of the best free gifts you can ever give them. And perhaps you haven't spoken in a while, right? Perhaps you haven't, been in touch since the last year, but this is the time to just say Happy New Year, how's things going, and send them the link. Trust me, I promise you, they will thank you so much for it later. So if you have already, let us know in the comments. Let's have a look at here and see where you are all from. Oh my God, I see New York already. Whoop, whoop. Which I have somebody who moved from New York moved to New York not too long ago. And she's telling me how freezing it is. So hello from New York. I hope it's not too cold and it's not snowing and you're not frozen in. Hello. Sorry, I'm just reading through here. Representing Dubai, amazing. Oh, we've got someone from Brighton. Hey, she flowered. Again, how is the weather there? I really wonder if it's quite breezy next to the water or if it's nice and refreshing. Do let us know. But we have Akria from Abu Dhabi. Lovely stuff. Hope you've got your popcorn ready for day one and taking lots of notes. Oh, an Ethiopian living in Dubai. This is fantastic. We've got a nice range here. And that is the beautiful thing. When you come to the UAE, if you ever would like to travel here, visit or move, it's such an eclectic place. I am from London, as many of the women on the panel are. And it's a diverse city, it really is. But until you move to somewhere like the UAE, you find so many beautiful cultures. You find so many beautiful men and women and families, and you can learn so much from the rich culture. And I actually have had a few Ethiopian friends here, not in the UK, but I found in the UK most of my African friends were either Nigerian or Ghanaian, which is amazing. I love Ghanaians. I was born on a Wednesday, and if if I was Ghanaian, although I could actually be, I'd be called a queer. I believe a queer is for a Wednesday, born on a Wednesday. However, my parents, it's not however, it's a good thing, are from the Caribbean. So maybe my roots way back do lead me to Ghana. But yes, hello and welcome. We have got, I saw Harrow somewhere. Hello, Grace from Harrow. Hey, from West London too. Hey. Well, kind of West London, but we're not going to get into that right now. But we'll just say West London / Middlesex. But hey, from Harrow. We've also got lovely Sharon here from Surrey. And yes, it is cold. Yeah. Back after 13 years in the UAE, what happened? Come back. We'd love to see you. Either way, I'm loving the interaction. And oh my gosh, New York seems to be -9. Okay, we're not jealous of you, but we are definitely sending you some love and light from where we are. So I am super happy. I'm seeing the numbers jumping up on the live. So, of course, we have to wait just a little bit longer for a couple of those to grab their teas and coffees and jump on. Feel free to also do the same. Don't obviously pause or mute the live stream. But yeah, go have a little toilet break if you need to. grab yourself that coffee, but do make sure you have your notepad. That is the key thing here. Your notepad for the notes, or maybe you do digital. Maybe you want to have your Evernote or your Apple Notes open, whatever it is, make sure you're nice and comfy. Because what we're not doing in 2022 is the old things that we used to do in 2021 that was kind of us, oh, if I just, oh, but maybe when, and I was about to, no, we're not doing that. We're getting prepped, we're getting relaxed. And so as we ease in and as we are about to welcome our first guest, who is coming on in just a few minutes, we are going to take this extra time to get acquainted. So I hope you are ready for a treat. And please, as you've already been doing, let me know in the comments why you joined today. Is it because a friend of yours is on the panel? Is it because you are sick and tired of some of those old habits and things? Or actually, is it just that life? Like life is lifing right now. And to be honest, trust me, I know, okay? But the reason why I'm sure you may possibly be here is because you're ready for change. You're ready to see and to hear and to do something different because you've been trying, you've been doing. And at this point, you're maybe at a point where you're just like, seriously? Seriously. So please let me know in the comments what made you join. Oh, I see more West Londoners here in the comments. Hey, who else? Oh, Zims, we got Zimbabwe up in here. Hello, hello. But please let me know why you joined today, what you are expecting perhaps, and what you'd like to gain. You know, have a think about what you'd like to gain from today, not just watching for watching's sake and passing some time or supporting a friend. But I really hope you are watching. And as I'm asking these questions, I hope it's kind of penetrating and getting a little bit deeper so that you can think about why you're really here and what you want to benefit and gain. So we are almost ready for our first amazing speaker. She has so much to share. And when I first met her, if I'm honest, I actually said this today, I didn't think we'd stay in touch, not because there was anything wrong, but being in the UAE, it can be very fast moving, as many cities are. And I just thought, really nice woman. And I hope that, we swap numbers and we do stay in touch at some point. But the next day, she was very keen, very eager. We spoke about a couple of things, and she's a woman of her word because she did exactly what she said she was going to do, and she's never left my side ever since. Now, not that it's all about my personal pride, but she definitely has so much to share. Living in the UAE for 22 years. Yes, 22 years. There is so much that she has to share. And of course, I hope you have your questions ready. I hope you know why you want to be here. But even if you don't, sit tight, listen, understand our next guest, Marcia McLeod, because she has a lot that she can share with you and help you with today.
Marcia McLeod is the founder of the Powerful Purpose Philosophy. She's also an educator, Reiki practitioner, inspirational speaker, podcaster, and coach. Marcia McLeod is the founder of the Powerful Purpose Philosophy. She's also an educator, Reiki practitioner, inspirational speaker, podcaster, and coach. After years of finding herself emotionally, mentally, and physically stuck, Marcia went on a mission to uncover the deep-rooted source of her insecure, negative, and self-limiting beliefs. Unbeknownst to her, this stemmed from many emotional cases of baggage, which left lifelong scars. Through her courageous journey of self-discovery and understanding, Marcia learned that those limiting beliefs were not what defined her, and this left her with an incessant yearning to identify her own soul-driven purpose in life. Marcia's strategies of being able to separate from early environmental influences to be able to discover one's authentic self served as the impetus for her book. These tools have enabled others to also surrender to realize their own amazing story of self-discovery and cultivate empowerment for their greater good. Marcia, born in London, UK, is now living in the UAE. She's a mother of 3 amazing children and is extremely passionate about assisting people, particularly women, to unearth the hidden gems that lay deep within them, in order to actualize, shine, grow, and eventually propel them to create and live a more fulfilled life. Connect with the Purpose Philosophy community, where you too can go from unfulfilled to uncovering your purpose.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Marcia McLeod.
Hey.
Hello, Marcia. You look gorgeous. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am completely blown away by my introduction. I think, God, is that actually me? But I guess it is. I'm feeling really humbled and honored actually to be able to share my story on the platform, and also to have been able to work with yourself to be able to create such a platform where, like-minded individuals can share their story and hopefully empower others. So,
Thank you very, very much. This is looking great. And of course, this is you, darling. So I'll hand it over. Have a great talk.
Much. Thank you. Okay, everyone. So as you know, my story today is going to be about finding your purpose. What is purpose? This is a common question that I find pops up all the time. And for me, it's really about finding joy, finding passion in what I do, rather than actually focusing on finding a specific job or career. In my experience, the reality of when life kicks us down, okay, and people let you down or people turn on you, you make mistakes and somehow you fall short and of what your intended goal may have been. But do you give it all in? Do you think to yourself, oh my gosh, that's it, I'm gonna just go to bed and give up? No, you got to keep going. All right. And for me, that is purpose. That thing that keeps us going, keeps us pushing through. So having a clear sense of what that is, that we are here because of a much higher purpose. Okay. Beyond just our own personal happiness or safety or comfort, that we're here to give of ourselves and to do something for a greater purpose. Finding something in your heart that feels like it's so important and so meaningful that it's ultimately going to make a difference to the world. We're not just here to find peace within ourselves. We are here to be all that we can be and to give the world the gift of our unique presence. Any challenges that are right on your doorsteps currently are calling you to step up and to step out and to grow. Think about it. Nelson Mandela, who would he have been without apartheid? Martin Luther King, who would he have been without discrimination? Today, I'm asking you to choose not to resent the people or the situations that are challenging you. Why? Because they are your main teachers. They are serving you, enticing you to grow. Embrace all the birthing pains, as it's essentially stripping you of any of the attachments that actually could be a major part of the process of you finding a deeper you. So going on, to be able to find a deeper you, that's not easy. And that's why this quote resonates with me. Sometimes you have to dig through the dirt to find the gems. And that's something that I personally have experienced. And it's not just about finding the gems, then it's about stepping out and having the courage to follow them when you do. I made a conscious decision in my life to turn things around. I chose to take control of my life and I began looking at different ways that I could change my unhappy reality. And I know if there's anyone out there today that's listening and is feeling like that, this can be you too. Okay. So, where it all began. So this is my lovely parents, who both immigrated from the West Indies, from Jamaica to be exact, in the early 60s, in the Windrush era. So on the left, you can see my mum. She was aged 18. And on the right, my recently passed father, who arrived in the UK at the age of 21. And I am really proud to be able to say that I am their daughter. You know, they arrived in the UK with bags of hope, fresh, coming from the Caribbean, searching for a life that was better, and leaving everything that they had known. You know, they made sacrifices, they worked hard to build a life, and I can tell you that was not always easy. They both worked as manual workers, and in my opinion, were definitely pioneers of that time. My parents met in the UK and got married. And as they say, the rest is history. So, of course, they had me. I haven't changed much, have I? So you're probably thinking, who is Marcia McLeod? Well, I'm a first generation Black British female of Caribbean origin. I grew up in London, North London to be exact, in the 70s. And it was a melting pot of many cultures and many religions. This photo is of me, aged 5. I was a very quiet, shy little girl, but I always had big dreams. I wanted to travel. I wanted to work. I wanted to live a dream. I was really fortunate that I was able to have a reasonable childhood. My parents worked hard to give me good opportunities. I had a good education and I had a good standard of living. Once I graduated from university, at 21, I was blessed with my first child, a daughter. And for a short time, I experienced life as a single mother. And I was holding down a couple of jobs, one of which I was a youth justice officer working with young offenders. As life would have it, I eventually met a wonderful gentleman. I eventually got married, and then I moved abroad. So this is me in 2000, actually with my daughter. I think she was 4.5 at the time. And I haven't changed much, have I? Please put your comments there. I don't think I've changed very much, but you know, this is way back in 2000. So that's right, 22 years ago, as Kai mentioned earlier. And after getting married, you know, we packed our bags and we came here for a new life. So this was my first expatriate adventure. So just like my parents, I had left all that I'd ever known to come and live in the sandpit. Of course, initially, it was fine. You know, it was wonderful. I had the sun and, you know, life was good. But then a few months in, I started to miss my family. I started to miss my friends. It became hard. You know, my daughter was at school. My husband was at work. And what I really struggled with, because of course, coming from the UK, I had independence. And at this point, I was a housewife. And so I really struggled with not having my own independence. And so everything was just kind of falling apart at the seams. I didn't really have any friends, and I was away from my core support network. So after about 9-10 months, honestly, I wanted to leave. And what stopped me was I picked my daughter up from school, And it was just before the summer holidays, and a parent came running up to the playground. And she said, "Oh, do you ever consider teaching?" And I said, "Me? Teach? You must be joking." She said, "No, seriously, you just need to be a speaker. That's the only prerequisite." So I said, "Okay, I'll go along to the interview." And I got the job. And so what I'm telling you is, the reason I came back after the summer holiday was because I had a job. I'd secured my first job. So on my arrival back to the UAE in September of 2021, my teaching career began. Whilst holding down my first teaching role, I went on to have 2 more beautiful babies. So now I'm living in Abu Dhabi. I am a professional teacher, and I've got a fabulous husband, and I am living the dream life. But you know what? I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy inside. And it's important for me at this point to highlight to you that taking the step to move and live in a new country, far from your family, from your friends, it is not easy. And it actually made me realize how much my parents had probably endured back then. I felt alone. I felt trapped. And because my friends on the other side of the world were thinking that, but your life is amazing. So I felt like I was living in an illusion versus the actual reality. I'd call my mum, I'd complain. I told her it's all. She would just tell me, listen, you're just being ungrateful and selfish. Stop thinking about yourself. Think about your kids. And so I continued. I stayed and I continued. Now, during all this time when things were happening, and of course I was raising my children, I was in my marriage, I was holding down different jobs and I was building my career. So I'd started off as an English teacher, just with the bare essentials. And then I went on to further educate myself, further upskill. And so further opportunities became available to me. But I was doing all of this while still raising a family of young children. I had amazing opportunities. I met amazing people. I worked for amazing companies. But throughout all of this, I was still not happy. I knew that I was doing all of these things because of external factors, whether it was because I needed to pay the bills, I needed money, or because it was possibly what other people thought I should be doing. Many people said to me, "But you're a great teacher." And to be honest, I was. But what I really loved was the fact that I was able to empower the students to learn. But was I really fulfilled? A question or a statement or question for you. Being good at something doesn't necessarily mean you should be doing it. If you don't love what you do, you could really be missing out on something. Let me know in the comments. Can any of you relate to something like that? Are you doing what makes your heart sing? Okay, so just bear with me. So, whilst I was working and, of course, navigating life, I embarked upon something called network marketing. Now, many of you may be familiar with network marketing. And why this was a pivotal time for me was because once I got involved with the network marketing, so it wasn't that I was necessarily successful in my network marketing, it was more about how I began to see myself. So I had a small business. I was starting to be surrounded around people who were business minded, who were encouraging me, who were starting to see my natural traits as a leader. things that I hadn't even seen in myself. So it started to open my eyes to the possibility of limitless opportunities and for freedom that I hadn't really considered before. When I look back now, I was never really fulfilled working for other people. In 2013, I left my full-time teaching career and I actually reduced my hours and went part-time. And whilst I was working part-time, I decided to further upskill myself again. And so I went and trained to be an image consultant. Now, a lot of the people that are on this today know me and know that I love fashion. So, of course, this was something that was really effortless for me to do. And so whilst I was still in my part-time job, I started to run a home studio where I empowered men and women through style. Well, during all this time, this was my daily reality, okay? That although those things were happening and on the surface it looked fantastic, I had literally arrived at a place in my life where I just felt I couldn't. I literally hit rock bottom. I spiraled into depression. There was a point I couldn't get out of my bed. I didn't eat. I didn't speak to anyone. I was merely existing. I literally would get my kids ready for school, send them off, and I would crawl back into bed. I was clearly not living in my purpose. And the truth be told, I really had moments where I just thought, I don't want to be here at all. And I can honestly say this was my lowest ebb. It was at this point that I took the decision that I have to turn things around in my life. I cannot go on like this. I chose to take control of my life. I started to take advantage of new things. I started to write down my feelings. I didn't even realize that I had a gift to write. I started to journal, just put my thoughts on paper. I started to meditate, to sit with myself. I started to talk to other people. And what I realized that through speaking to other people, they were inspired by my story. They were inspired. They were looking up to me. And I took these decisions because I realized I had to turn around this unhappy state that I was in. I was literally speaking to anyone that would listen to me. And as I said, by me sharing my trials and tribulations and being open and authentic, people started to share theirs too. Now, throughout all this journey, one of the sad things that did happen was the demise of my marriage. And after 17 years, we eventually got divorced. But what I will say at this point is that almost 6 years on, I am now at a point where I can wholeheartedly say that because I have been willing to do the work on myself, I am wholeheartedly me, unapologetically. I'm no longer choosing to dim my light to make others comfortable. I'm no longer choosing to live my life in a way that pleases others. And of course, I'm not telling you this is all a life of roses, and I'm certainly not advocating divorce either. What I'm saying is that at some point, we have to take responsibility for our lives, and we have to accept that we are the ones that are at the driving seat. Now, of course, even though I've arrived at this point in my life, I still have people who tell me, oh, you're crazy. You know, why did you leave? And what are you going to do? And the naysayers, basically, who think that they know what's best for my life. But what I'm telling you is when I decided to take control of my life, things started to change in my life. my life started to become more positive. I started to attract more positive things into my life. Why? Because I was truly willing to invest in me. So because although I've been through many challenges in my life, and for sure I'm going to continue to do so, because life isn't about arriving at a point. Life is something that is evolving continuously. And so I know that at the end of the day, I just have to keep striving. But I'm going to be the first to tell you that I've made many, many, many wrong decisions in my life. But irrespective of that, I'm willing to take control. I wanted to write about my journey. And so I embarked on a mission to write my story and to publish my book. That is still work in progress. However, alongside that, I have co-authored another book project where that book is actually out, where I've now shared my journey of 22 years in the UAE. And actually, by doing so, it has given other people the possibility and knowing what it is to come and live in a country like this. You know, I didn't have that 22 years ago. So if I'm able to give back to the community, then so be it. So I decided to also further educate myself. So I trained to be a Reiki practitioner, and I also trained to be a purpose coach. In addition to that, I created a program called the Powerful Purpose Philosophy. And this program is primarily about supporting women, okay, to change their mindsets, to alter their mindsets, and to empower themselves, because this was something that was missing in my life. And I created this program basically to help them to develop their inner strength and to improve their power and to release their voice. Looking back, for me, it's clear that relocating to another country has taught me many things. It's taught me the only limits that we set ourselves are the ones that we set ourselves. So there is endless potential. It's taught me to dream, okay? Exposure to a totally new reality. I've had to learn to be adaptable, just like my parents had to be when they first arrived in the UK back in the 60s. You know, the UAE is a multicultural environment, just like where I grew up. And that your network is your net worth. And as Kai had mentioned right at the beginning, you know, we met and we didn't know if we were ever going to stay in touch. But look at the magic that's happened from that one connection. So I am not saying everybody has to move to the UAE to find themselves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what works for me. But I am saying we all need to get to a point where we are willing to connect with who we are. I don't think that's something that should ever be negotiable. Now, before I close, I just want to say that you must never, ever be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Because honestly, that is where the true magic happens. I'm urging you today to attempt the things you never thought were possible, because it may be the very thing that can inspire others. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that 22 years ago, I would have thought I'd be an entrepreneur. But here I am, inspiring others while being an entrepreneur. I want you to remember, no one is you. And that is your unique superpower. Uncovering your unique expertise. Nobody can do the things that you do the way that you do them. No one has your experience, your approaches, your methods. And you are certainly no less than any competition that may be out there. One of the things that has really helped me on my journey was the support of a community. And during the lockdown, Kai and myself, at the early stages of the lockdown, actually had created a group on WhatsApp where we supported individuals for about 9 months, where we sent daily inspiration, just uplifting people. And the feedback that we had from that was phenomenal. And so we have decided to launch a 12-day self-paced course that will begin in February, that is going to help individuals out there to build your self-confidence and to develop your mindset. You're going to also have an opportunity to have access to a community of like-minded individuals where you'll be able to share and grow together. And also you'll have access to exclusive offers. Now, I know that the ladies will be able to put the link for that in the comments at some point throughout the summit. So if you're interested, please feel free to click the link. And that's all from me. So if any of you are out there and want to connect with me for any of my services, or just to connect, to share, to network, I'm always available. Here are my contact details. I do hope that you have enjoyed what I've had to say today. I am looking forward to hearing all your comments. If any of you are out there and currently on the fence about taking the plunge and questioning your abilities, all I can say to you is, remember, you are enough. What? Can't hear you.
Haha. When I'm backstage, it mutes my mic for very good reason. And I had my glasses on. You can see the ring lights in there. So let's start again, shall we? This is what happens when you go live. Thank you so much for sharing some of your story. That has been incredible. Now, first of all, I just want to say, I'm not sure if you have something, maybe your earrings are knocking your microphone. So just to be mindful whilst you're speaking. But we've had some lovely, lovely feedback in the comments. And first of all, how was that for you? How was it going through your memories and just kind of reliving and telling that story each time you go through it? How does it make you feel?
It's always a bit of a tearjerker for me, honestly speaking. You know, it's never easy to share your story. You know, obviously there's highs and lows. But I think just remaining clear in that when I do share, I know it's going to help someone else, because I know that my experiences are not unique, in that there are many people who struggle with similar things. And so I always tell myself, even though it's difficult, even though there is that, oh my gosh, what people are going to think, there is also the other aspect of it. You know, right. I wish that maybe someone had shared with me, because right. It may have helped me. And so I have to hang on to that and keep going. So yeah, I always enjoy hearing how what I've shared impacts others.
So I always get blown away, but of course I know you. However, can you just tell some of the people listening what exactly it was like when you first landed here, aside from the glitz and the glamour that people assume is the UAE, if they haven't traveled here yet. But what was it actually like taking that leap of faith and coming out with your daughter, with your husband, and landing to sand?
It was not easy. I mean, of course, for me initially, as I explained in my presentation, you know, the thought of being a lady of leisure and, you know, going to come and just going to put my foot up, and yeah, that was all great. But I was coming from a vibrant city, London. Yeah, which for all intents and purposes had everything. And then I came to the UAE, which 22 years ago literally was the desert. There was no mall, there was no, I mean, there were supermarkets, but very few, not the plethora of supermarkets that we see here today. So everything was hard.
Right.
And I cried literally for about 9 months.
Wow.
What am I doing here?
And you
So.
mentioned that you had some low points where you just knew that this was not it. But for anyone listening out there, what would you say, if they're listening and they kind of know they're hitting a brick wall, they're crying every day like yourself? Like, did you know at the time that you were in the state that you see and look back at now? Did you know that you were depressed? Did you know that you were at a brick wall, or is that more so in hindsight? What would you say to someone listening for those kind of signs that you felt at the time?
Great question. I think at the time I knew something was off balance. So I think we know ourselves, and we know when we're thriving, and we know when we're not. So we may not necessarily know that we're depressed or anything else, but something isn't right. So when I go back to my teaching career, I taught, and many friends said, "Oh, but you're brilliant. Just teach." Well, I don't want to teach, because when I do it, something feels off.
Right. And for any of you watching or listening, I hope that this is resonating with you if it is for you, because honestly, I know that I've been there a few times where I've been in a job or, doing things on that path that everyone says you're supposed to do. You go to school, you go to university, etc., etc., etc. And, of course, in your life, you had your child, you'd, gotten married, you'd moved out to a great location and tax-free, but actually you actually knew that it wasn't feeling good when you were teaching, it wasn't feeling good when you were doing XYZ. And so you had multiple jobs, you were great at some of them, but you still weren't feeling fulfilled. So for anyone listening, this is exactly why we're here talking about it, because sometimes when you're going through it, it isn't apparent. You have work, weekend. Oh, everyone hates their job. I know someone who used to say that literally all the time. Everyone hates their job. We live for the weekends. But actually, no, that's not how it's supposed to go. So thank you for sharing that. And you did touch on, of course, the Mind Over Matter group that we created in the lockdown. And for those of you watching, whether you know myself personally or not, or even Marcia, honestly, during that time, it was, of course, so scary with so much misinformation and fake news going around, and the actual severity of going into the lockdown, which many of us obviously don't want to revisit. And depending on where you are right now in the world, might be experiencing, restrictions still, as many of us are dealing with the pandemic. But during that time, I remember it was great to be able to speak to someone like Marcia and I wouldn't say offload, but just to talk and be as excited, if I'm honest with you, as I was, because I also knew that I was doing a lot of things at the time that weren't sustainable and I needed a break. So it was a welcomed break, in my opinion, but nobody else around me sort of shared that excitement to be at home, to have peace, to pause, to break, to just, live and breathe in the four walls that they had. And I had just moved. But for me, it was the purest time. And I remember we were actually quite calm together. And it was almost an instant yes. I remember I called Marcy and I was like, "Oh, I've got this idea. We should do this." And she's like, "Let's do it. Let's do it now. Hang up the phone." And in the same nature that we met, when she was a woman of her word and said, "Oh yeah, I'll message you that thing you asked for tomorrow," she did. And it wasn't at like 10 o'clock at night. It was the next morning. Boom. She said it. She did it. She followed up. And within minutes, we had this group that was supporting many throughout the pandemic. And, I've seen there's a few of you who've also joined on the call as well. So we're really grateful to see you. Hello, hello. But overall, it was just such a powerful time. So can you tell us a little bit more about the new course that's coming up, and what people can expect from your Mind Matters 12-day self-paced course?
Yeah, so basically it's self-paced, meaning that, you will have the time to work through it as convenient for you. It's an opportunity for you to do some daily tasks, to reflect, and to go a little bit deeper within. As I shared with my story, I think, being willing to kind of look at ourselves and not always looking externally and blaming external factors for why we are where we are is a great place to start. So going through that course in your own space, but then also being part of an extended community where, of course, you can share and, things have come up, maybe you want to discuss, because again, we'll find that we're not alone. A lot of us are feeling the same thing. So they will have access to a community of others. They will have access to meditations. Again, you know I'm an advocate for that. Just being still and going within again. And also they'll have exclusive access to any things that are up and coming in the near future.
Such as another summit with some VIP access. Yes. We really hope you're enjoying watching right now, and thank you for sharing your story, Marcia. So in the comments here, I've had a moment to have a quick look through, and we've got Charlene. Hi, Charlene. She says, inspiring and authentic presentation. What does investing in yourself require?
First of all, for me, this is something, thank you, Charlene, for your question. This was something I really struggled with because I was always raised in such a way that I was taught to sacrifice myself. That was the only thing I ever knew. So basically, if I sacrificed myself and did everything for everybody else, I was a good person. So I now had to unlearn that, first of all, and understand that investing in me actually meant putting myself first, even if that meant other people didn't understand and other people felt uncomfortable with that. As I've expressed, I'm a mother. I have 3 children. This was something I had to teach them, that it's okay for me to put myself first, as it is okay for them to put themselves first too. Right. So being willing, I think, is the first step, and not afraid of what people think. So it doesn't have to be a major deal. It could be, I'm not taking calls between 7 and 8 in the morning, because that's my time where I want. And if someone calls you and says, well, you answer your phone. I'm not available between 7 and 8.
Mindful of your earrings. It's all right.
Yeah, I'm not available between 7 and 8. So, it's about taking small steps, I think, to kind of carve out those boundaries that are going to help you to be a better person for yourself first, before we start thinking about others.
Definitely. Great question, Charlene, as well. I think self-care and self-development never stops. It's not about, necessarily doing big shopping sprees to treat yourself and then, starving yourself the next day, or forgetting to put yourself first and doing everything for everyone else, or just generally only doing spa days. It's a mixture of things, including boundaries. So much as Marcia discussed, it's ongoing. And as you learn and go on a self-discovery journey anyway, it's not a point that you arrive at, but it's a journey, and it's called a self-discovery journey for a reason. So whatever that looks like for you, just getting to understand yourself, know yourself better, know what you like, know what you don't like, then you would find that you're not resenting anyone. And even if you are, you can look inwards before you look outwards and start to blame other people. So I think that has been fantastic. We've got some more comments flying in here at the bottom, and we really thank you. So I know there's a couple who have tuned in from Canada, and also maybe a few tricky who haven't been able to find the comments. So the comments are there, I promise you. We see them, and you can see them on the screen as well. But if you are on an iPhone or an Android, thank you very much for tuning in. Please do bear and have a look around. Actually, I'm sure if you swipe up, the comments are underneath the video if you're watching on a phone, but either way, a laptop or a TV perhaps is great for the stream, because you can see us live and direct with all the glitter and glam. No matter how you have joined, we are so appreciative, and we hope that you keep encouraging friends and family or anyone who needs to hear this to tune in. So, Marcia, just your slides have come off the screen now, but if you can leave us and let us know how someone can get in touch with you if they want to know more, if they're looking to find their purpose, or maybe coming to Abu Dhabi.
Okay, so I think if you can drop, I've got my Instagram, which is the main place that I am on a daily basis. I always put daily inspiration, quotes, all sorts of things. You can also find me on my website. You can drop me a message there. You can join the community. Also, I have quite a few blogs on there, which I discuss certain topics that are usually quite common things that people struggle with. So yeah, you can find me in those two places. And of course, I will be running the 12-day self-paced course and the community as well. So you can find me there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we are we are so grateful that you were able to share your story. And if you're listening, if there's anything that Marcy has said, or you want to get in touch, or you know someone who even needed to hear it but sadly missed it, we will be sharing information for the replay later. But of course, live is where it's at, because you can ask the questions that you need to hear, that you need answered right here, right now. So gather around. Tell your friends, tell your family, share the link, and get them to put their questions in the comments. Now, next up, we have the amazing Lydia Andrews, who's going to be talking to us about how we can get our monies, honeys and gentlemen. Fellas, if you're there, we love you too, okay? But I don't know what rhymes with that. So yeah, we're getting the money, honey. You could be honey too, actually. It's not only for the ladies, but we're going to be getting our money. And actually, for the record, she helps men as well invest their coins. But she noticed a few things when she started working with women. So she'll tell you all about that. But yes, we will come back shortly after this mini break. Stay tuned.
Bye.
Grab a bite, come back.
Your Mind Matters, a 12-day self-paced course with daily inspiration, tasks and meditation to build your confidence and mindset. Join a community of like-minded individuals where you can share and grow together. Alongside the 12-day course, you'll receive access to a private community, key gems of inspiration, prompts and activities, as well as exclusive updates. Join the next intake starting 1st of February 2022. Shift your mind, connect with others, and thrive together. Because to be your best, your mind matters. Lydia has been a wealth advisor for nearly 6 years, where she spent the majority of her time investing in the stock market on her clients' behalf. She noticed that while her male clients were quick to take her advice and begin investing, women would always procrastinate or tell her that they wanted to do a lot of research first. But then, even after all that research, most never started investing. When she started running Love Yourself Financially webinars for women, she saw a drastic increase in the number of investing women. As a result, she created a framework to teach women how to earn, build, and preserve wealth in a way that resonated with them. What changed for these women? Her approach. The finance field is very much male-dominated, and every aspect of the job has always been geared towards men. When she changed her style to teach and serve women, their perspectives changed quickly. She started Love Yourself Financially to see women improve their financial literacy. Her purpose is to help women invest, build wealth, and thrive financially.
So you heard me. I did not lie to you. Lydia is here to share all the gems, specifically for her amazing Love Yourself Financially group for women. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce to you Lydia Andrews.
Hi, Kai.
Hello, Lydia. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All the better for seeing you here now as well. You're going to help us grow our coins, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm really excited to be part of this session this weekend, and I was really inspired by Marcia's story. So I'm going to tap into that just a little bit before I dig into my chat.
Fantastic. Well, please take it away.
All right. So, everyone, you know why I'm here today. I'm here all for the money. All right. But I do need to point out that when we're looking at money, it's just a small aspect of our lives, an important aspect, but a small aspect. So, why do I say that? Because a lot of the time we focus on our money and often we neglect other areas of our lives, or we focus on other areas of our lives and then we neglect the money. But to live a fully holistic life, we need everything to work together. We need some kind of balance. And so this is why I really appreciated Marcia's story and talking about purpose, talking about fulfillment, talking about enjoying life, being passionate, and living a life of purpose. Because ultimately, if you have a lot of money and you're miserable, what's the point? You're not going to enjoy life. So I want you to enjoy life, but also I want you to make sure that you have enough money so that you can enjoy life. So today's session I've just taken the title from the overall workshop, Reclaim, Reset, and Realign to Build Wealth in 2022. So if you're here and you want to build wealth in 2022, please drop a yes in the chat, drop a one in the chat. Let me see that that's what you're all about. I'm here, I have my phone, I'm checking the chats. So for 2022, what I want to see in the conversations I've been having with women, especially this year, have been all related to how can we make more money? How can we build wealth? How can we, one, increase our income? And then also, we want to enjoy life now, but we also want to make sure that we have enough money for the future. Okay, so we need to find a balance there. See, I see lots of yeses in the chat, so I'm happy to see that you ladies and gents are here to build wealth. So, what I want to do is to start with one question for you. My sessions are normally very interactive. I'll be talking a little bit about my own story, but I do want to hear from you and I want to get you thinking more about your money for this year. So now, based on how much you're currently earning, do you think, yes or no, let me know, do you think that you're earning enough? Are you earning enough money for the life that you want to live? Yes or no, let me know. Are you earning enough money for the life that you want to live? Now, this is an important question for me to ask you. I'll take wait a second for you to respond to let me know where you are. But this is an important question because what happens is we need to be able to see the bigger picture. And that goes in line with Marcia's chat about purpose. We want to be able to see the bigger picture so that we know what we need to be doing today. So I see a lot of no's in the chat. So a lot of you are saying you're not earning enough money for the life that you want to live today and in future. So if it's not enough for you for what you want now, then it certainly won't be enough for you to prepare and invest for the future. Okay, now the reason why I bring this up is because as women, and I'm focusing on women because that's what I do with Love Yourself Financially, we already earn less money than men. We're already in a situation where the way the system is set up, the way the world is set up, we're earning less money. We take career breaks, and so for that reason, we're not getting paid during that time. If we have kids, if there's family members that we need to take care of, and then when we get back into the workforce, sometimes that career break means that when we get back into the workforce, we're not able to scale up and get higher paying positions that we maybe would have been eligible for had we not taken the break. So there's so many different levels to this. I'm not going to get into too much detail regarding um, the pay gap and other aspects of society that affect us because I want us to focus on the positive. I want us to focus on what we actually can do to increase our wealth, to increase how much money we have, to increase how much money we have so that we can live a better life, so that we will be satisfied and be living in abundance. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what abundance means. All right. So when you look up the word abundance, it means more than enough. So when you have more than enough, it's not necessarily like a huge, significant overflow, right? We're talking about you have more than enough so that you're comfortable. Not that you have heaps of money that you're hoarding and that you're not using, because we know that once we die, we can't take that money with us. But you have more than enough for you, more than enough for your family, more than enough for you and your future generations. We're talking about generational wealth here. So I want you to think beyond just today. And I know sometimes it's hard. We've been in situations where we're just on survival mode. We're in the rat race. We're just trying to make do, right? But I want us to be able to lift our heads up and look at our future and look beyond today. All right. So I posted something recently on Instagram, and I was talking about how for a lot of women, the struggle that we face is confidence. I'll touch on that in a bit. But what I want you to think about is how confident you are when it comes to managing money. I'm going to talk about that more later, but it all ties in. Because if you realize that you're not earning enough, why aren't you trying to earn more? Why haven't you asked for a raise? Why haven't you started your business? If you already have a business, why haven't you increased your rates? Okay, so for women, a lot of these issues tie back to our confidence. All right, so as I started, the title of my session is Reclaim, Reset, Realign. And so I want to start with the first word, reclaim. And what does it mean to reclaim, and how does that align with our money? So reclaim, if we look at the dictionary definition of the word, it simply means to retrieve or recover something that was previously lost, given, or paid, or obtain the return of. Now, I'm saying that we're retrieving and we're recovering from the fact that the system has us earning less. So if you're making more money because the system earns less, you're recovering from the situation that you found yourself in through no fault of your own. Think about the women in your family. Think about generations past. Think about their financial situations and how that has compounded, versus think about men in your family. In a lot of cases, it's the men who have had the money for the most part, but the women who haven't. Maybe you know stories in your family where you hear of women being told, if you have your own money, have a little pot of it separate and keep it as a secret that your husband doesn't know about. Why? Because having money empowers us as women. Think about a situation that you've been in before where you've been stuck, you haven't been able to get out of it, or you've had to stay in it a lot longer than you would have liked to, simply because you didn't have enough money. This could be a job that you hate. This could be working with a boss that's hitting on you, trying to sleep with you, harassing you. You're in a relationship or a marriage where you're dependent financially. You would like to get out of it, but you can't. Think about, being able to take care of your children, send them to certain universities, but because you don't have enough money, you're not able to do so. So I think one thing that we need to really leave here today with is that money will change your life. And so you need to have more money. So if there's one thing you leave here with, I want you in 2022 to think about, how am I going to earn more money to change my life and to change the lives of those people around me? Okay, so again, reclaim. We are retrieving or recovering what was lost from us. Have you ever been in a situation? Let me see in the chats, yes or no. Have you ever been in a situation where you weren't able to make certain decisions because you didn't have enough money? Yes or no? Let me see. I know I have, and I could tell you a couple of my own stories. Have you ever been in a situation where you couldn't make certain decisions because you didn't have enough money? Yeah, I'm seeing a few people saying yes. And unfortunately, unless you make sure that you're comfortable, it's going to happen again. And so I want you to be in a situation where you're not stuck because of money. Money should never be the reason why you're not able to get yourself out of whatever situation you're in. Okay. So I want you to have your money for yourself. I want you to be comfortable. I want you to even think beyond just comfort and making do. I want you to think about having a fabulous life. And a fabulous life is however you define it for yourself. Okay. So we're reclaiming the money that was lost and we're thinking about ways we can make more money. We're looking at income generating opportunities. So here's where I can input my framework. So the first one, it ties in with this, is earn wealth. So my first framework is earn wealth. And earn wealth is all about increasing your income and it's making sure you have the foundation right. Because if you want to increase how much money you're earning, you won't be able to do so if you don't have the right foundation, if you're not budgeting, if you're not tracking your expenses, if you don't know where your money is going, you're not able to allocate money towards specific goals. Okay? So we're reclaiming our money. And then when we reclaim our money and we're making more money, we can go to the next question. How are we managing our money? So the next question that I have for you is, are you confident in your ability to manage your money and build wealth? Let me see in the chat. Are you confident in your ability to manage your money and build wealth? There was a time I was not. And that's the main reason why I created Love Yourself Financially. I created Love Yourself Financially for young Lydia. I created Love Yourself Financially for the women that I was meeting when I had my financial advice meetings. The women I was meeting who were saying they don't know what to do, they're confused, they were uncertain, and they were meeting with other people in the industry, especially men, who would just overwhelm them with information and not explain things to them in a way that worked, that made sense, and that was clear for them. Okay, so Ijiro says she's building up her confidence. And then She Flowered says she could be more confident. Absolutely. And so here's the thing, if you're not confident in yourself, if you're not confident in how you manage your money, how are you going to make the right, wise decisions and build wealth? How are you going to make decisions on investing? How are you going to be able to confidently say, I know what I'm doing, or at least work with someone who will help you and at least be confident in that person? So you can trust that person and have them be teaching you how to manage your money and build wealth, because this wealth building journey is not going to happen overnight. It's a long term journey. And so as your confidence increases, and I have seen this time and time again, as your confidence increases, then your ability to, one, earn wealth and increase your income improves, which means that you have more money to enjoy life today, and you also have more money to build wealth for the future. All right, so I started with reclaim. Now the second one is reset. And so for reset, let's look at the definition. And the definition for this is to change or restore to a different or former position or state. Okay. So you might be in a situation now where maybe at some point you were making better decisions and you found yourself in a situation where you've made a mess of your finances and it's really set you back. Okay. Or you just have never been good with your finances and you want to change things. You've decided 2022 is the year that I want to change things. Okay. And so, in applying resetting our finances, what we're doing is we're changing our mindsets to receive wealth. Why is this important? Because everything starts in your mind. Everything that you believe about yourself starts in your mind. It starts with the thoughts that you think, which unfortunately sometimes are impacted by negative thoughts of people that you grew up around or people that you may work on that and do thought audits regularly to renew your mind and change the way you think. But ultimately, I want you to think about how you're receiving wealth. I want you to think about the kind of life that you want for yourself. I want you to think about the big picture. So if I asked you today, you don't have to write in the chat, but think about it for yourself. Dream for a moment if you've never done it before. Think about the life that you want for yourself. Think about the life that you see for yourself in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years. What does it look like? When you have a picture of what it looks like, then you can make sure you have the money for it. And that's what I'm always doing with my clients. I want them to be able to see far ahead what kind of life they want, because then we need to take it back and we start today and we start making decisions today about how we can make sure we have enough money for that life tomorrow. Imagine you woke up and it's 20 years from now and you realize, oh my God, what has happened? 20 years has passed and I can't account for my money. I'm not living the life that I wanted. I had all the ideas, but I never made sure my money was right. Simple example, even when planning for finances, I say people want to plan for making sure that they have a house when they're retired. But then I ask them, okay, so you want to make sure you have a house, but are you also making sure that you have enough money to live in that house? How are you going to pay for the bills? How are you going to buy groceries? How are you going to get around? Are you just going to stay in the house? What kind of lifestyle do you actually want to have? Do you want to work for 20, 30, 40 years only for you to live a very simple life because you don't have enough money? It's fine to want to live a simple life, but I want that to be something that you've intended and you've planned towards. I don't want you to live your full life and then when it's time for you to kind of enjoy life a bit more and then you have more time on your hands, I don't want you to be in a situation where actually you don't really have options because you don't have money. We've been in situations today, present tense, past tense, where we haven't been able to make certain decisions. We haven't been able to maybe travel. We haven't been able to go to a friend's birthday party, to a wedding, whatever it may be, because we didn't have enough money. We haven't been able to make some decisions because of lack of funds. So imagine when you're older and you have more time on your hands and you've lived your most of your life, 2/3 of your life, and now you can relax and enjoy. Do you really want to be in a situation where, man, I can't do anything. I don't have any money? Or do you want to now, as your younger self, plan for that life that you want to live by the time you're 60? It could be even younger than that. I am meeting people who want to retire at 50. So think about this. Think about the life that you want to live when you retire. And when I say retire, it doesn't mean that you've quit your job and you're home or living a life of leisure. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case for you. You could be working part time, you could be having a business, you could be traveling the world. Whatever it is, I want you to define it for yourself. If you've never done this before, I want you to think about it. And I don't want you to limit yourself. This is why we're resetting our minds. Whatever it is, this is a good time. If you haven't done so, this is a good time to do a vision board so you can visualize, so you can see it, so you can dream towards it. Resetting your mind means being around the right people also. Being around the right people who have the same mindset and who are striving for similar goals, people who will hold you accountable to what you say you want to do, and people who will encourage you. I have my vision boards here. So I did one in 2021, and I decided for a number of reasons, I won't get into all of that today, but I've decided to carry the same vision board into 2022. And then something I did differently this year is I created a financial vision board specifically for my financial goals, focusing on who I want to become, focusing on how I want to spend my money, and focusing on how I want to make money as well. Okay. So changing your mindset really is an ongoing and intentional process. And this is why Marcia's chat, I'm glad that we started with hers because she talked to you about purpose. She talked to you about living a life of passion. She talked to you about balance. And once you're doing that, you'll be happy, you'll be content. I want you to be content, but then I also want you to have enough money. Okay? I don't want you to be miserable. So let me move on to the next question that I have for you. So we've done reclaim, we've done reset, and I want to ask you, do you feel exhausted? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel confused? How do you feel about the way that you're making money every day? How do you feel about your job? If you're an entrepreneur, how do you feel about, being an entrepreneur and making money? Because if you're feeling any of these things, and yes, it may happen from time to time, you may have periods of this, but if you're feeling it for an extended period of time, then we may need to realign. Maybe you're out of balance. Maybe things aren't aligned properly for you. So let's look at what realign means. To realign means to set again or to set differently. So I want you to think about the job that you're at. Now, it's not so much about contentment here. You may love your job, but you may be frustrated because you're not earning enough money. You may be an entrepreneur and you may be very happy with what you do, but you realize you're drained, you're exhausted. Why? Because you're not earning enough. Okay. I want you, when you're thinking about your money and generally thinking about life and living your purpose, but that's another conversation, they all go hand in hand. When thinking about your money, I want you to be focusing on doing what's best for us, what's best and first and foremost. So, what is best for you, first and foremost? Because ultimately, if you're not satisfied, if you're not content, then you're going to struggle. If you're not living a life of alignment, you're going to struggle. And so, again, when we look at reclaim, when we look at reset, and we look at realign, these three words were chosen intentionally. When I was first asked to join this, I had no idea what the title was going to be just yet. And so when it came out, and I thought, this is perfect. This is a perfect way to start the year. So, for the people who said they're not earning enough money for the life they want now, something is going wrong. Something is off. What do we need to fix? Do you need to speak to your boss about earning more money? Or do you need to make some money on your own? Entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but it may be something temporary for you as you figure out how to realign yourself. There are periods of time where we do things just to make ends meet or to make sure that we're comfortable so that we can eventually live our purpose. Are you focusing on doing what's best for you, or are you putting other people first? Are you sacrificing? Marcia talked about that. She was raised to sacrifice. Are you sacrificing so much that you're feeling drained, you're feeling exhausted? I want you to think about it because you may not even realize it because you're so used to doing it. So pause and think about it. If you're an entrepreneur and you're feeling something's wrong, you need to actually take time to reflect. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we may love what we're doing, but if you're not charging enough, you don't value what you're providing and the transformation that you're giving to your clients. And assuming that what you're providing is of value, you need to charge and it needs to align with the value that you're giving them. People are willing to pay, they're ready to pay, but you need to make sure that you're charging accordingly. The right clients are out there for you. So again, reclaim, reset, realign. I want to go into some questions because I'm not talking specifically about investing and how to invest. And I know those questions come up. I'm going to continue on Realign, but in the meantime, if you have any specific question for me, please drop it in the chat because I would love to address them by the time I'm done with this conversation. All right. So again, reclaim, reset, realign. And I think reset and realign are probably the most important, and they go hand in hand. Because once you've reset, you've changed your mindset, you've realigned, and you've put things in order, you've put structures in place, then you can reclaim and make sure you're getting that money. You're getting the money that you need so that you can live your best life, live a fabulous life, live a luxurious life, so that you can have peace of mind, so that money is not something you ever have to worry about again. Okay. So for me, to work with me, it's very simple. I do investments, I work for a company, but then I also have a coaching program. I'm not going to delve too much into my coaching program now, but you can easily connect with me on social media everywhere as Lydia Lids. That's my account everywhere. I'm always posting about wealth building, I'm always posting about investments. Um, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You can always DM me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. I want to see women increasing their wealth. I want to see women building wealth. I want to see women investing. And if that's what you want, then we definitely need to have a chat to see how we can do that this year. So I'm checking the questions. Okay, so we don't have any questions. Yep, mindset is everything. Okay, so I guess if we don't have any questions, then I guess I'll be wrapping up for today. So remember, we're reclaiming, we're taking all the money that we deserve, and we're taking all the money that we need to live our best life. We're resetting our mindsets. We're shifting from having a scarcity mindset or a mindset of lack, and we're focusing on opportunities. We're focusing on the good. And then we are realigning. We're shifting things that don't work for us, that aren't in our favor, and we're focusing on doing what's best for us, because in doing so, we'll be able to best give the best of ourselves to others. That's it from me for today. Thank you guys for joining. Can't hear you, Kai.
Apologies, backstage. The thing is, it's good because it does it by default, but it turns red when it's on mute, and it wasn't red. So let's rewind and start again. So thank you so much, Lydia. It was great hearing you as always. And I remember when we actually first met. So a little bit of a backstory for the listeners, which I hope you enjoyed Lydia's talk. I am based in Dubai and Lydia is in Abu Dhabi. And I saw that she had a workshop happening and I had missed a few previously. But I was determined. I had a day off work when I first arrived in the UAE and I thought, I'm going to go. So tell a few friends and my cousin at the time who I was living with, we jump in the car and we drive to Abu Dhabi and we met Lydia. And I'm like, you've got to tell more people because what you have to share, we did like a few exercises that helped us to look at our budget and it gave us ideas about whether or not we were spenders or savers, especially as women, because, you know, you mentioned so much great stuff about mindset. And I love that you incorporated the name of the event in the title of your, well, not the title, but the title and your slides. But mindset so much, what was interesting for many of the women at that time was that we thought we were one thing, but actually we were something else. So in my opinion, I thought I was a massive spender and I was out here, you know, frivolous. And actually, according to, you know, the example that you gave and the test that we did, I seem to be quite good with spending. And is this something that you commonly see coming up with women?
Women underestimate how good they are with managing their money. I have had women, and it's shocking to see, and we'll sit down, I'll go through other finances, and they will be careful of your words because they'll constantly be saying things, oh, I'm not good with my money. Oh, you know, and I'm like, actually, first of all, even if, let's say, objectively, you were bad with your money, I wouldn't even I wouldn't even bring that out. I would say what matters is you're here today to take the first step to clean things up. But
Exactly.
even with the women who manage their money well, they have multiple investments, they have different bank accounts, they have, you know, enough savings that if they lost their job, they'd be comfortable for 6 months, a year, or longer. They make
Right.
comments like that. And so I think we need to be mindful of the way that we speak about ourselves. It's something that I've had to work on and I continue to work on. But I think unfortunately, I don't know if it's just because society tells us that women are bad with money, we're shopaholics, all the movies tell us that, or as I don't know, I guess we're all from different cultures. I meet women from all over the place, but still, it doesn't matter where they're from. Most women tend not to think of themselves as being good with money. And so
Right.
this is why the mindset part is so key, you know,
Right.
and a lot of the times it's very subtle comments that are said in passing, but I catch them and I correct them and I ask them to say the opposite, you know,
Right.
and I encourage them in that way.
That's exactly why we're here today, because
Mhm.
there are definitely reasons and dare I say it, sometimes excuses of why we are where we are. But if you face them and you kind of address them and say, okay, this is what I was doing, I may not be the best at it, however,
Mhm.
I'm willing to learn.
Mhm.
I'm willing to have someone like yourself, a wealth advisor, show me the way. I'm
Mhm.
willing for someone to even invest the money for me.
Mhm.
But what about if realistically someone hasn't got the finances? Maybe they've got debt, or maybe they're in a low income job. Maybe they don't even know what it is they want to do, and they found themselves. Myself, I back in the day I used to work in retail, and it kind of just happened out of university. So I was doing it as a part-time job, and my bosses, thought I was great and I could take on more responsibility. But I found myself sort of just floating into this possible management in retail, that I was like, how did I get here? And the money wasn't as much as I hoped it would be, especially not coming out of university. And I just found myself in this sort of cycle. So what would you say to someone who's watching right now,
Mhm.
who may be in a job that they used to love and they don't so much right now? What do they do? It's not about talking to the boss to
Yeah.
say, can I get a promotion? But
Mhm.
generally, they're not earning enough to, spend on themselves, treat themselves, and kind of make ends meet, especially during the pandemic. How do we change the wording and the frame of mind in those situations?
Well, first of all, there's more than enough money out there. There's an
Mm.
abundance of money in the world. And so we need to figure out how to get
Speak it up.
ours. The
Speak it
pot is
up.
so big. Think about it. There are all these billionaires, millionaires out there who figured out what worked for them. We need to
Exactly.
figure out what works for us. And so sometimes it means in the short term, you find an opportunity and you take advantage of it and you do it. But then I also think that you want to live a life of purpose. That's why I love that we chatted after Marcia. And so um, if you understand your bigger picture and what you want out of life, then it will impact what you're doing today.
Right.
So you need to think about, what do you want to be doing in 20 years from now? What kind of life do you want? How much money will you need for that? Because that
Right.
will impact what you're doing today. You'll be much more driven. And I've seen the difference. When we look at the numbers, then my clients are like, oh my God, I need to change things. So it's less about the financial management in the day to day. When they look at the big picture and they see, okay, I'm going to need a lot more money to get there.
Right.
How am I going to do that? Then they start thinking and scheming and, plotting ways and strategies to make more money for now. So I really think it's really about looking at the big picture, because if you're not driven and you have nothing motivating you, what's going to change? Nothing.
Right.
You'll be
Right.
comfortable with where you're at.
So what about women who right now say, I don't want to think about the next 10, 20 years. I need to figure out what's happening next week, or
Yeah.
even next month, because I want to go to New York, or, I want to go to Accra. How do we plan and use the extra 50, the extra 100, maybe the extra few $100 or pounds or dirhams that we have right now? What do we actually do with it? Is it a case of putting it in a savings account and then thinking,
Mhm.
okay, when the next available opportunity comes up, I can invest? Or is it a case of finding something potentially as a side hustle to be an income generator, so that you have a lump sum of maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and then you invest?
Okay, so I guess there's a couple of ways to go about it. One, I mean, it's if you want to do it on your own, there's so many places that will do smaller, very small amounts to get started with investing. But if you're in the UAE, a lot of the investment platforms will require a larger amount. It's not even that much, like a few $100s,
Right.
right? And if you're in the UAE and you're living as an expat, most likely you can afford that. Most
That's
likely.
monthly, weekly,
Monthly,
annually?
monthly.
Right,
Yeah. You know,
right.
so that's just over 1,000 dirhams, like 1,100 dirhams. So skip out on a couple of brunches, save a little bit more money, skip a few ladies' nights here and there, dinners out with friends, because we know the temptation is here. It's easy to spend a couple hundred dirhams on a night out, at least, you know?
Right.
So again, when you know what your goals are and you know what you're striving towards, then it will impact the decisions you're making today. But if it's
Do
just kind
you
of go with the flow, then you're not going to really be driven to make the changes.
And do you tend to see a lot of that here in the UAE, where people have come, they've got this great job and this promotion and this lifestyle, and it's literally just been spent in a heartbeat because of the shopping, the huge malls, the
Mhm.
big glitzy cars. How have you found it? With women here that come to you as clients, where do you find their spending, and where are the sort of quick turnarounds to cut that? So brunches, as you mentioned, is maybe a good
Mhm.
thing, but what else can
Traveling.
people cut? Traveling?
Yeah. So I'm not here to tell people how to spend their money. I'm not here to tell them you need to cut this and you need to cut that. I was just speaking in general terms, but on an individual basis, it's about us sitting down, understanding what your priorities are, and then you're going to figure out where you need to make some cuts or increase your income, whatever is the best option for you. Because
Right.
ultimately you need to do what's best for you. And if that vacation you wanted to take is something that you feel you absolutely need it because you've been working so hard, and you need to, go away to kind of relax for a few days, then do it, But again, ideally plan for it, save for it, and then spend the money on it. But generally, the women that I've seen, I guess it depends on the sector as well. Okay,
Right.
so certain sectors I've seen when you look at their income, how long they've been here versus their bank accounts, you're wondering what happened.
Mm,
And then when you go, because I always go through their income and then their expenditure. And so when I see the expenditure, then it's clear.
hmm
And so again, it's up to them to make that decision. I'm not going to tell them that you need to cut X, you
Right.
know, I might make a suggestion or a hint, but ultimately it's up to them.
Right.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, of course, the theme of what we're speaking about across the next 2 days, because it always starts with you. No matter
Hmm.
what area you're looking at, whether it's romance, whether it's finances, whether it's not enjoying your job, there are of course going to be external factors that are
Yeah.
affecting your mood and your experiences. However,
Mhm.
something in you has to change. And so, quite rightly, as you said, if you give all of the advice and you say, this is a budget, this is a plan, if they're not able to control their spending, or say no to borrowing that money to that
Mhm.
friend and knowing they're never going to get it back, they'll be back in the same situation and their income will not be increasing. And
Yeah.
thus, your role is redundant, because it's not actually them not being able to make the money, it's them making the choices.
Yeah.
And you can help people make better choices, but you have to be
Exactly.
able to follow that. And it all starts when you reset, you reclaim, and you realign.
Absolutely. Yes.
So we have a great question here in the
Mhm.
comments. And that actually leads me into something as well. So, what would you recommend as the first step to gain confidence when handling wealth management, especially with smaller funds?
Okay, so it's about making promises to yourself and keeping them.
Right.
So if you say tomorrow, I'm not going to spend any money, I'm not going to go out for lunch, don't go out for lunch. You'll be proud of yourself for that. If you give yourself your budget, if you give yourself a budget for this week saying, I'm not going to spend more than 500 dirhams this week, and you stay within your 500 dirham budget, you'll be more confident, you'll be proud of yourself, and you keep that going. So it's the small decisions that you can make on a daily basis that will build confidence. And it's keeping the promises that you make to yourself.
Great stuff. I mean, even with regards to starting small as well, something that you've talked about when I've attended one or two of your workshops a while back, you would say start small. You know, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be big, grand amounts. Some women who were attending had a lot to invest, and others were just starting out. So I do remember you saying that you can just start small, and when you see the rewards or the money starting to increase, that also will probably start to build your confidence, because you'll be like, hey, you know,
Yeah.
I can do it, and I
Exactly.
am doing it, you know, well. And of course, the more that you practice the habitual side of it, and see it repeating, then that will, of course, have something that's more sustainable, and you can have it obviously with larger amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, at what time would you say someone can come to you? When is the best time for them to get in touch? Do they need to wait until they have some savings, or they can come and just say, I need to be honest and vulnerable and let it all out from scratch? Where do you meet your
Okay.
clients?
Okay, so normally they come to me when they actually do have money to invest, or
Right,
they're in a situation where maybe they should have enough money to invest. For example, maybe they do have a good salary, but they're spending too much money. And
right,
so they could have enough money to invest, but we just need to put some structure in place to make sure that, okay, let's make sure you reduce your spending just a little bit so you can use some of your money towards investing. So it's normally people who either have the money readily available, or they just need to change a couple of things. There are some people, we know, when you look at your income and your expenses, no matter what, because you just are making do, they
right,
generally, now it's not really about investing. They need to learn how to increase their income. That's the first
right.
and foremost for them. But in terms of working with me, when it comes to investing, it's you have money to invest, or you have a good amount of money and you realize you need to fix things so you can actually start investing. But
When you say
mhm,
fix things, do you mean more like spending habits? Do you mean
yeah,
debts or credit
yeah.
cards?
So it's more like, okay, let's say your salary is 10,000 and you spend all your 10,000 and it's not on necessities. You know,
Right,
it's if we do a revision, you could probably get by on 5,000 or less, meaning you have 5,000 at your disposal to
right,
invest potentially. So it's about being honest with yourself about your situation, because if you know you're earning 10,000 and that 10,000 is literally going to all necessities, and there's nothing you can do, there's no money you can squeeze out, because it's to take care of your family, then you need to look at how to increase your income, whether it's through your job, getting another job, or starting something else to make more money.
right. And
Hmm.
and do you handle or advise on debt management or credit card
Hmm.
management?
Not specifically, but if it is an issue, then if it's an issue that has come up, because some people, even if they have comfortable money in their bank accounts, they still may have some debt. And so
Right,
it's just about putting a plan together in terms of investing and also eliminating the debt. Because I'm not someone who says you need to clear all your debt first before you start investing, because you're losing out on time in that case. And
right.
so we can do a balance, just like a little bit of a balancing act, and figuring out how best to address the debt while also planning for investing.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
So, just before you leave us, are you able to tell us a little bit about the types of investments that you may be familiar with and enjoy, such as, dare I say it, crypto, or traditional investing and stock markets? You know, where do you kind of advise overall?
Okay. So again, my day job is through a company in the UAE. And so with them, I primarily work on investing in long-term investments for my clients. Okay.
With
I'm not
men
doing
and women, not
with men
just women.
and women, with
Yeah,
men and women. And so this is where I look at primarily the stock market, right? So
right,
planning for specific goals, mainly retirement, but then sometimes education, or just investing to make sure the money isn't sitting in the bank idle. Excuse
right,
me. And then there are other opportunities for lump sum investments. There's investing in life insurance, which is a necessity. And then also looking at things like investing in property as well. So you can join me next week. I have a seminar on a free webinar on investing in property, specifically UK property. So you can check my Instagram and Twitter, link in bio. You can check that for more information. But yeah, that is the main areas in which I invest. And then something that's come up is second passports, especially for those who have a weaker passport that doesn't allow them to travel as easily. A lot of people are looking at investing in a second passport.
Fantastic. Well, I think you have given us so many gems to think about. And it's been such a pleasure listening today, but all the different times that I've seen you and we've crossed paths and I've attended the workshops. And it's been amazing because you came to Dubai and started doing them as well. And of course, have
Pre-COVID.
fantastic pre-COVID days. But there is a fantastic ecosystem that you have called Love Yourself Financially. So if you could just tell us a little bit about that and how our viewers can tune in and, join that group or perhaps contact you outside of this live.
Of course. So my Facebook group is called Love Yourself Financially, and that's for women. All right. So that's where I'm hosting webinars, and I'm also posting tips on how to earn, build, and preserve wealth. So feel free to join the Facebook group, join the other ladies in the group. And then I ask questions, I get you thinking, I share advice in there as well, for educational purposes.
Fantastic. And it is quite an active group. The ladies are often in there sharing, the spending or saving tips that they have. And it's definitely a very, very useful resource. So Facebook, if you are on there or need to get active again, this is a group that you want to be part of, because seriously, you'll gain so much. And of course, when you're ready, you can reach out to Lydia. But generally, that is why we're here. Okay. It's not to do the same things that we were doing last year or the year before, because trust me, so many of us have had a reality check multiple times, and it's about doing something different. Maybe the previous advisor you had or the previous thing or whatever it was didn't work. Okay. But what are we going to do? We're going to move forward. We're going to continue to build, and we're going to build together. So you have heard from Lydia Andrews, and she has given some really great gems and shown us what she does when you love yourself financially. And it's been amazing having you on. So thank you so much for your time, Lydia. It's been amazing. And as always, I will shout about you from the rooftops.
Thank you so much, Kai. I look forward to the next session.
Yes. Well, next up, we have another amazing lady. Her name is Cordelia Henry, and she's got a lot to share. She's also been in the UAE for about 2 decades. So these powerful women are doing some incredible things and has so much to share, because along her way, she has met some amazing women, and she has been sharing all that she knows so that we can build tribes together. Now, we're going to take a short break. So that means if you need to go to the toilet, if you need to go and grab another pen or another piece of paper, this is the time to do it. Or maybe you want to make a cup of tea or a coffee. Go and grab one, and we'll see you after this little break. And share with your friends. Make sure, tell them to come on down. Join these gems of information.
I was severely depressed for a good part of half of a year. I really just said, I can't do this anymore. I don't like my job. I'm not happy in my marriage. I'm just not happy, generally. And this was hard because many people saw the alluring, beautiful life that I was living, and so then I became this ungrateful person. Actually, what more do you want? What could you possibly want? You've got the sun, you've got the tax-free living, you have 3 children, you have a job. What more?
Your mind matters. Your Mind Matters, a 12-day self-paced course with daily inspiration, tasks, and meditation to build your confidence and mindset. Join a community of like-minded individuals where you can share and grow together. Alongside the 12-day course, you'll receive access to a private community, key gems of inspiration, prompts and activities, as well as exclusive updates. Join the next intake starting 1st of February 2022. Shift your mind, connect with others, and thrive together. Because to be your best, your mind matters.
Hi there, this is Ejiro. I am the energetic EJ and I'm a podcaster at the Afrocentrist podcast, where I podcast with a difference, with a focus on personal development. I've had a lot of people come to me for podcasting tips, which led me to creating the Business of Podcasting course. And you see, in the next 90 days, I want to help just 20 people do the same thing, that is, start, grow, and monetize your podcast. See, if you are ready to put in the work, then it is you I want to work with. This is for you if you have a compelling message or you are an expert in your field and you have something for your world, but you're looking for a way to grow your impact, your influence, and your income. And I can tell you for sure that podcasting is one sure way of doing that. And I would love to work with you. But I also need to confirm that you are a fit for me. So why not hop on a call with me by clicking on the link in my bio and clicking on the link that says connect with me. We'll hop on a call and I'll have that conversation with you to know if you are a perfect fit, because I only want to work with people who are ready to put in the work to get the result that they desire. And I can't wait, if you are the one, for you to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. All right? Hit the link now. Let's have that conversation. Bye.
Hello, welcome back. I hope you've been able to take a quick break. I hope you've been able to freshen up, go grab that coffee and come back. How fantastic was that talk with Lydia? I hope, much like myself and many of the other women who have been part of her workshops or just had a conversation with her in person, she's always nice and chilled and relaxed. But I hope she's been able to leave some really good information and gems for you to really start thinking about maybe another income stream, maybe that's taking up a side hustle, renting out a room, teaching, tutoring. There's so many things that you can do online now. And maybe that's not for you. Maybe you're not really able to have a side hustle because you're already working full time, you have a family. Maybe you just generally don't feel like having a second job, but you still want that savings pot that you have, maybe the inheritance perhaps, or just any extra cash that you have in your bank account. It's not growing. Okay, inflation is going up, as you've probably seen in many different countries, wherever you are. I was recently back in London and I can definitely vouch and say the prices have increased there, and in a very short window. Whilst many of us were going through the pandemic and losing income streams, prices are rising, deliveries are halting, and so many things have just been put on pause, but the price goes up. When demand is there, but supply is not, the price has to increase to meet the expectations of the market. And so what does that mean? It means that maybe you can't spend as much as you used to or do as much as the things as you used to. And it means that you have to make your money work harder. It's about working harder. Sorry, your money should work harder, but it's about you working smarter, not harder. There's only 24 hours in a day. Okay? There's only 24 hours in a day. And of course, you need sleep. You need to eat. Okay, rest is a productive part of the hours that you spend. And are you getting enough? Because the more of that you get, the ideas can come to you. Okay, the ideas for how you can invest. Maybe you might want to look into crypto. Maybe you might want to look into NFTs. Maybe none of those things interest you and you want to see a wealth advisor like Lydia. Okay, you saw the comments and details before. Love Yourself Financially. You can find out more and get in touch with her. You do not have to be in the UAE also. She is international and often working from around the world. I've seen her recently in the States, I believe, also in Canada and Ghana, running these workshops and working with people remotely. Because money grows. And the more that we can do that is the more that we can enjoy and do the things that we want to do on purpose. If you don't let that idea or that purpose out, you're doing a disservice not only to yourself, but to the others around you, your immediate family, your friends, and on a whole, the world. So the more that we level up, the more that we do everything that we need to make more money, is the more that we can give back to our communities. It's the more that we can give back to the churches. It's the more that we can go out and do the things that we want to show others that is possible. When they see you doing it, you're an example and an inspiration, and you will help somebody else along the way. Now, I hope you have been enjoying everything thus far, including our lovely ads that are coming up. And of course, we had the energetic EJ talking about her podcast, and she'll be speaking tomorrow, along with myself and the amazing Akuya, who's going to be talking about how you can follow your dreams and travel the world, if that's what you choose to do whilst earning and working remotely. Now, that may not be for you, but overall, hearing the different women speak, hearing the different women share their stories, I hope that it's starting to sink in a little bit deeper and inspiring you. And you're taking lots of notes. I really hope you are. So I've seen that a few of you have already been asking for links for sharing. So, of course, you can grab the link that's above in your YouTube. If you're watching on your phone, if you're watching on your laptop, that is great stuff. I'm sure we are looking lovely with the bright lights here. But please do share and let somebody know if they are missing this right now, or perhaps they've just, it slipped their mind. Do remind your friends and family to jump on and hear what is happening next. Also, Black Girl in Dubai. If you are looking for any Black and African businesses here in the UAE, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is one of our first live streams, and hopefully the first of many, many more to come, where we can have a panel of men coming and speaking about potentially teaching in the UAE, or anyone who wants to reach out. If you've got an idea, if you're interested in collaborating, maybe you're in New York, maybe you're in Canada, and you want to know what it's like to live here, we are interested in creating so much content. So please do subscribe. We are also on Twitter and Facebook, and you can find us at Black Girl in Dubai. So check us out and make sure you stay subscribed for all the details. Now, the next amazing female who is about to join us and grace us with some amazing pearls of wisdom is a phenomenal woman named Cordelia Henry. Now, I met her, I think probably in my first month of my first year, and we stayed in touch ever since. Now, we live quite close together, based here in Dubai, and I think she has so many gems to share. Just like Marcia, there are some incredible things that you can learn about people who have come here when there was virtually just sand. Okay, of course there were malls and other things that were starting to be built, but the city and the landscape that we see here now is very, very different to what it was back then. So building friendships, having sustainable circles, sustainable networks when you're away from your friends and your family and everything that you know, even if you're where you've always been. I was in London for majority of my life before I came here, and I'd never moved cities, actually, ever. But doing that and having the resilience and the courage and the drive and just the curiosity to see what happens if I change location, what happens if I go that extra mile, what happens if I take a chance. So if that's resonating for you, maybe you're not trying to relocate, but maybe you're trying to change job. Maybe you're trying to change circumstances, and maybe something in what Cordelia has to say and share may be for you. So without further ado, I am going to introduce her. And actually, whilst I'm on this and I remember, please use the comments to connect to each other, because as you've probably realized, as I've mentioned, that the women on this panel I met in some different capacity and thought it was just a meeting, just a chance happening. But everything happens for a reason. And if you are quiet enough and still enough to listen and follow the coincidences, you can make some really incredible, powerful connections. Maybe that's somebody you need to stay in touch with as a friend. Maybe it's someone you need to stay in touch with as a contact. Maybe it's someone you need to stay in touch with just to pass on to the next person. So use the comments below to get acquainted, ask your questions, and even if you don't have one, find out something from someone in the comments and encourage them if you perhaps see that maybe they are struggling or need some help with something that you can offer them. So, back where I was, we would love to introduce our next speaker, Cordelia Henry.
Cordelia Henry is a tribe builder who specializes in helping purpose-driven female entrepreneurs to build an authentic tribe of influencers so that they can gain more visibility for their business using word of mouth marketing.
Hi, Kai.
Hello, Cordelia. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. I was sitting here a little bit nervous because I've never used StreamYard before. And I was just like, okay, Kai, I'm here. Bring me in. Bring me up, Scotty. Do you remember Star Trek?
Yeah.
I haven't got the ears, though.
Ladies and
you.
gentlemen, this is Cordelia, also a Black British former resident of the UK, but now living here in the UAE. So, how is it here in Dubai?
When you say former, it certainly is former. I've been away from the UK 26 years now. And God spares my life, I'm not really ready to go back for ever. Or let's just say for now. Because you should never say never, right? But yes, I've been a resident in Dubai for 22 years. And it's been an amazing experience. I've gained so much knowledge. I've built a fantastic tribe of like minded individuals around me. I've helped others to do the same. And just giving God thanks for being able to still have my health and peace. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, it is amazing to see you, and we can't wait to hear what you have to say. So, I'll hand it over to you. Have a great
Great.
talk.
Thank you so much, Kai. So, ladies, and if there's a gentleman or two amongst us, welcome. I actually own a company called Pearl Essence. And the name of my company is really synonymous with the region that we live in. As you know, the UAE was very famous for its pearl diving, but that's another story which I won't elaborate too much on. If you look at my social media handles, it's quite an interesting name. Most people would say, well, why didn't you have your handles as Pearl Essence? Well, I truly do understand a concept that's been designed before we were actually designed and made. God basically said that when we sow into the life of another human being and we want nothing back and we sow again, yeah. So he's saying, do it once, do it twice, and then what you'll receive is 10x, 100x. And it may well be from the same person or it might be from another person. So basically, I am a tribe builder and I build tribes and I show other women how to build tribes. Let's say communities, if you want to use another word. And the only way you can build a successful community is if you're able to sow into the life of someone and not expect anything back. And then you will see the blessings and the play it forward happens. Now, I am going to talk today about women communities and how they actually empower you. And I'll start off by saying that life will hit all of us. Sometimes it will take us up and sometimes it will take us down. But my question today, ladies, is are you going to be willing to reset yourself and get in touch with the person that you are inside? So often as women, we give and we give and we give, and we lose sight of who we are. When I sit down with my clients, I'm teaching them how to actually build authentic connections with like-minded people so that they can make more money and get more leads for their business. Many of them have to deal with all of the baggages that they have carried over the years, which often makes them feel less than, not good enough. And this topic of resetting yourself comes up. Will you, the question asks, is realign yourself with the life that you want to design for yourself? Often we are born into families who design our lives for us. And then we kind of wake up mid-20s for me and say, no, this isn't the life I want. So 2022 and beyond is your time. It's your opportunity to really realign yourself. You know, like when you're driving a car and the car is not in alignment, it's a little bit off, right? It doesn't drive smoothly. But when you take the time to align the wheels, it certainly is a smoother ride. And reclaiming your life is about
taking stock of who you are, standing in your power. And I'm so grateful to Kai and the team for coming up with such a great theme for today's discussion, because I truly know that all of these resets, realignment, and reclaiming can happen very easily if you do one thing, ladies, and that's get support. Get support, not only on a daily basis, on a minutely basis, because let's just say you actually want to reset your life, but you have a down day. Who have you got in your life that can say, you know what, don't go there? Why don't you just do this and do that? There may be days when you are just not feeling that you want to scream anymore from the rooftops because you're so happy. Who do you share that excitement with? Well, you share it with a community. And that's why I'm going to talk about this concept of there being room at the top for one woman at a time. I want you to tell me, while I turn on the AC, in the chat, is that a myth? Or do you think that's the truth, that there's only room for one woman at a time? I'm not sure if I can see chat messages here, but I'll continue. Well, it's a myth. There's room for all of us at the top. And I'm going to basically say something to you. If you understand female communities and how they work, well, basically, it's where you gain true empowerment. It's where you thrive and not survive, especially if those women have understood the sow-reap principle. In a female community, it's so easy to collaborate because, as you know, as women, we are nurturers, right? So we're not really designed to compete. But the world makes us compete because they're always comparing us to each other. Who's the slimmest? Who's the most intelligent? Who's got this asset and that asset? But in a female community, you really can gain true empowerment and find like-minded women who can help you on your journey to be a better version of yourself. So female communities is where you can find true empowerment. And I really want to help you to understand this graphic that I've got. It's an opportunity for you to look at how much you have grown or not grown. In the time that you have decided that you want to live life as a better version of yourself, how much have you really grown? And I want you to answer a couple of questions. And again, you can write it on the chat. I'm not sure where the answers will come up. But by a raise of hands, how many of you believe that as a woman, we go faster together? I believe that, so I'm going to raise my hand. And another question for you is, how many of you have not achieved your professional goals because you've not had access? Ijiro, thank you. You do believe that. Great. I'm asking you another question, ladies. How many of you have not received what you feel you should receive in life, or you've not achieved what you feel you should have achieved so far in life because you didn't have female support? If that's you, raise your hand. Again, I'll raise your hand. I'll raise it with you. Well, many people think that to achieve your goals in life, you need to just work harder and harder. But basically, that is not true. What you basically need to do is surround yourself with like-minded women so that as you grow, they grow, and vice versa. So that is what this slide is all about. It's all about how you can grow and be surrounding yourself with like-minded women so that you can all grow together and support each other. Now, this slide is basically saying that if you are able to join forces with women who are like you and like-minded, you will get another perspective of how to do things. All of us have been raised in families where
We think like our parents. And it's so funny because as you get older, you realize, oh my gosh, I'm thinking like my parents, I'm sounding like my parents. And if you just stay in that lane of the people that you've been raised with and the friends that you've known for years, you'll never actually widen your horizons in terms of the perspectives and the opportunities that you have. So it's really important for you to be able to build new relationships. And I have really encouraged all of my friends to not get complacent with the people that you know. In an expat environment such as Dubai, and those of you that live outside of your home countries, it's quite lonely. Um, but that's why you have to proactively, consistently be making new friends. As when you make new friends and you build new relationships, then you get new perspectives, new opportunities. So a global community is what I suggest. Thinking about a global community doesn't mean you jump on Facebook and you jump on Insta and you put some likes and you put some hearts. It's more about connecting and speaking to people who live in other countries and getting to know their culture and their way of doing things. Because behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who truly has her back. And if you could be part of a global community, tell me in the comments, how would that make you feel? I'll just give you a moment. And as I said, you need another woman. You need actually not another one woman. You need a tribe of women to support you. So let me tell you a little bit about my journey. As you can see, I had a very cheeky smile. I continue to have the same cheeky smile. And at the age of 3, I realized I was a connector. How did I realize I was a connector? Well, I was on this red bus with my mum. And it was terribly busy. It was freezing cold. And my mum was hanging on to the rail of the bus and it was moving and the bags in between her legs. And, you know, it was really jam packed. And I decided I was going to escape her my fingers took themselves away from my mum's big grasp. And I ran to the front of the bus. And you know that moment when you glare at your children and you're saying, come back here with your eyes. That was what my mum was doing to me. But I can assure you, I decided to ignore her. I took off my coat because that day I had a pretty frock on. And in that moment, people started looking at me, wondering where on earth was the mother of this child. And I realized at that moment, as my mum sort of started to smile, that my calling was to get people to connect. Because as I was standing there, sharing with them what my name was, what my mum had bought in the shopping, where we lived, and what the names of my siblings were, I saw people connect not only to me, i.e. give me sweeties and also pocket money, but they also started connecting to each other. And so from that, I realized that my true visibility came from when I was able to connect people to each other. I took that knowledge and that skill right up until I started work in National Westminster Bank in the UK. You can see the big afro there. And I did feel very alone. It was very unusual for me to be in the banking profession. It was definitely for male Caucasians, and I was a minority. And starting work at 16 wasn't easy. I didn't really fit in. It was hard. But the one thing I realized is that I needed the support of a tribe. So outside of banking, I decided to enlist the help of friends who were also working, who were older than me. And they guided me through the ranks until I left the bank 12 years later, actually being promoted to branch manager. So from making the tea, actually in that picture, I was a cashier. I managed to work my way up through the ranks by the tribes that I built. I also decided once I had a little bit more confidence to build tribes within the bank. And I remember building women in banking groups all around Southeast London and empowering women in banking who didn't feel heard, didn't feel seen. That was before the diversity and inclusion topic was even being taken seriously. Yes, that shows how old I am. But I do truly know that my calling was to connect and to build tribes. And I definitely needed that throughout my entire career. Now, young Robert here says that the richest people in the world are those that know how to build their networks. Why does Robert say that? Well, being a super duper billionaire, he's realized that, you know what, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's who you know that counts. And I truly believe that he is spot on with that, because I know that when I am able to help women to build their networks and build their tribes, that they not only shine from the inside out, but they then get access to opportunities that they never would have thought were possible in their lifetimes. And so, one of the skills that I do certainly recommend that women get better at is being able to connect with strangers. Now, what do I say that for? Well, our mums have always taught us never ever speak to strangers. It's dangerous, it's difficult. It's not good for a young lady to do that. But I disagree. I basically think that when you're able to speak to strangers in a way that's very confident, very charismatic, then you're going to be able to open doors that you wouldn't be able to open. So I've developed a 3-part video series, which I'm happy to give you access to, which will help you to learn how to connect with strangers in a way that will help them to support you and support your business and support your life. Now, I also truly believe that it's really important for you to have a sisterhood, a place where you can go to, where people are willing to give you advice, mentor you, listen to your highs and your lows. And because of that, I've set up an online community called the Sisterhood for Influence and Impact. If you are an entrepreneur and you would like to get access to more opportunities to discuss and meet women globally, then be a part of this, ladies. And you can just search sisterhood, and you've got to put it as it says it there. Number 4 as numerical, influence, and the and sign, impact. So that, my love, is definitely something that I have created that I found has helped me and helped so many other women. And then there's a concept that I really have lived and died by. As I mentioned to you before, we cannot continue to just hang out with those people that we know. We do have to widen our net of our contacts. And there are 5 women that I truly believe you should have in your life. Now, there's a woman who gives you information. I call her Google on legs. There's a woman that basically gives you lots of opportunities, not only for your business, but in your personal life as well. There's a woman who acts as a support. She's the one that sees your highs and your lows. There's a woman that basically, she mentors you. She helps you to just, I don't know, be the best version of yourself. She calls you out. She leads you by the hand. And the 5th one, I'm so sorry, it's just left my mind, but I should say it's the lady that supports you, the lady that gives you opportunities, the lady that mentors you, the lady that, gosh, it's just really left me. My apologies. But there are 5 women that I truly think that you need in your life. And so I have actually got a program where I talk to you more about it. It's a shame that unfortunately I can't remember all 5 of them today, but I will tell you more about it. Okay. If you want to know more, let me know. And that's all about goal setting, surrounded with lovely friendships. Now, it's really bothering me. It's my concept and I can't remember it. So I'm going to try again. Support, information, mentorship, opportunities. And I still can't remember that last one. Anyway, not to worry. I will come back and definitely share it with you again. So if you are interested in any of these 3 opportunities to build your tribe, to get to know anybody that you think can help you to move forward and realign and reclaim and reset who you are in 2022 and beyond, then do just send me a WhatsApp. I would love to have a conversation with you, and we can talk more about where you are in your journey. And if I can help you in any way, I'd be happy to do so. And do remember that the comfort zone is not your friend. We often say that, oh, I feel a bit I feel a bit weird going outside of my comfort zone. The comfort zone keeps you stuck. It keeps you small. And what I want to explain to you is as you go through different experiences in your life, you will go through the fear, you will go through the place where you learn. And then once you've done all of these, you'll grow, you'll get clarity, you'll get an alignment, a purpose, a fulfillment. But if you're still stuck at ground zero and you're not willing to move forward, then you're not growing, and the comfort zone is really not your friend. So do take action, ladies. Do take action in 2022. Don't stay stuck. It really is your time to change and to really fly. Because when you take action, you get results. And you take fast action, you get fast results. And so here's a summary of what I've said so far. It's a myth that there is only room at the top for one woman at a time. And female communities is where you can truly find empowerment. Relationships are the currency of the wealthy, and I'm really recommending that you spend time with the right people. So I'm hoping that Kai comes back to me at some point very soon. I've kind of finished what I've got to say. Thank you so much. If you have anything that you'd like to share in terms of an aha, then now's your time to do so. And yes, I can share with you my contact details once again, just so that you can have a look at that. Kai, where are you?
Hello, Cordelia. Thank you so much. It was amazing hearing you speak, although you could not remember the name of that last pearl. So maybe we'll come back to you in the mix of our talking. But it's been great. I feel like on here, actually, I feel you're very formal and calm and relaxed and chilled. Although in the background, I think there was a lot of wind going on from, I don't know, is there a sandstorm outside?
There's a sandstone. We do live in the green area of Dubai, and it is so barren. So yes, apologies.
I do know it wasn't too bad, but we heard something and thought, is that wind or is it not? But welcome to the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen. If you are not here, but you're watching from New York or from Canada or from London, we say hello. And it's not always sunshine, although we're very grateful when it is. But thank you so much, Cordelia. We have had some amazing gems here today, but in person, I know that you've spoken so much about the power of having your female tribe. And I remember actually at one of your talks, you were asking some of the women, and you asked us to actually take a few moments to write down a list. And I never forget this actually. And you said, make a list of the 5 people that you spend the most time with right now. And, obviously everyone goes to, write their list down. And then you said, I want you to think about, what you want and what you need and the things that you enjoy. When you look at that list, are those people and those conversations, are they the things that you want to be doing? And if you're spending the most time with them, what does that say about, your scale of happiness from 1 to 10? And it really, for me personally, I don't think I've ever told you this, but it stunned me because I was like, my gosh, I'm spending a lot of time on my own, which was good. Sometimes you have the highs and the lows. But the other circle that I know I was spending a lot of time with, by default almost, you're just in that hustle and bustle mode. And I think there were a few women in the room who also said, my God, it's just my husband and children. That's all I do. I'm a housewife, or, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or whatever it is, they're colleagues. And by default, especially women, men, no offense to you, but we tend to just be spending so much time around our default circle. And we say, well, that's it, it's life. But in a 9-to-5 job, if it is 9 to 5, pre-pandemic or not, we're spending a lot of time with family, which is not bad, but we're also spending a lot of time with colleagues. And if those are not your chosen people, then of course, like some of the women in the room, we're offloading everything on the men in our lives, or just everything on that one best friend. And don't get me wrong, husbands are great, best friends are great, but they don't have all the answers. They don't have, and they listen, of course, or sometimes maybe they don't. But sometimes we expect so much. Oh, you're not listening to me. Why don't you get it? Why don't you? And we're getting frustrated, but it's because we're offloading. And so, of course, when we have that network of friends, you can just call up, Cordelia, I'm looking for someone who does, I need help with my finances. Sure, call Lydia Andrews. Great, thank you. But that's not the friend that you might, call and cry to, because that's not the networking friend. But if you want the call and to cry and to offload, that might be, as you know, I've got a very good friend, Shalina. Oh my God. You never guess what freaking happened. And we can have all the laughs and the cries and everything like that, but that's not necessarily the friend who's going to know about the other areas. And so we need to learn to have different people in our circles and start to build our tribe, right? Not just for business, but for our friendship circles as well, right?
Yeah.
So the networking friend, the the cry on your shoulder friend. Who else do we need?
So Kai, I have actually remembered all
I was
five.
going to say, this should hopefully get it to you. What other friend do we need? So we need the friend who's going to toughen us up, or the friend who's going to get us to do,
Right.
what is it? What
So
is that friend in your circle?
So basically, as women, we are not one side or the other. We are emotional beings. We're whole beings. And so we can't just focus on work, and we can't just focus on our personal life. They all intermingle. So here we go. The core circle consists of 5 women. I've mentioned the mentor. She is the woman that helps you raise the bar. The one that says to you, Kai, you can do better. I know you've got this. Come, let me hold your hand. I'm going to walk you down what I've done. So she has to have had experience in the area that you are now walking towards. That's the mentor influencer type of friend. Then you've got the woman, number 2, who gives you access to the opportunities. She's the one that's basically saying, Kai, I know that last week you were out there trying to raise the profile for your virtual summit, and I have got Hello Magazine who now wants to do a feature on you. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then she says, you know what, Kai, I know that your sister's just had a little baby and that you're looking around for gifts to give to your niece or nephew. How about you just go into this online store? So she's always about opportunities. Then you have the friend, and this was the one I kept forgetting, shared interest. The one that pre-kids, pre-work, pre-drama, you would put on your little string bikinis. Not that I could ever do that because I was always a big girl, but she would have been the one you would have taken on your 18 to 20s holiday, right? She's the one that would be with you through your reading groups, or if you like photography, or you just like clothes shopping, or you go, basically for a glass of wine with her. Shared interest, right? You've got something in common. Then you have your Shalina, your support girl, the woman that you literally say, I'm done today, or hallelujah, hallelujah, the one you celebrate with, right? She's basically your support girl. And then you've got the woman who is info. She's the one that's Google on legs. You don't have time to see what Boris is doing in England. You're concentrating on Sheikh Mohammed in the UAE. You haven't got time to Google how to use StreamYard. You're just trying to figure out Facebook Live. But she knows everything. She's like Google. So these are the 5 types of women that you need in your life. But you do need a strategy in order to approach them, connect with them, and then nurture the relationship so that you can continue to deepen it. It's
Right.
not saying to somebody, you're this, you're this, you're this. And it's all focused around goal setting. When
Right.
you have your core circle, then you can direct them towards helping you achieve a goal. And the reason why you need support to achieve goals is because look at your New Year's resolution. How many of us have messed up?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
only what, the 21st. You need accountability, and your core circle can help you to ensure that you stay on track with your goals. That's why you do it.
Amazing. And I love that you said that actually about strategies, because I remember when I first landed here, me and my cousin met you at a brunch, and you invited us to come and join one of your events, and we didn't really know what to expect, but I think I had an engagement or something that I had to get to, and I thought, I'd pop in and I'd go and come back later. And do you remember, this was pre-COVID days, back at the Fridge. So Cordelia, ladies and gentlemen, had this huge event. I don't know if it was going to be a small thing or a big thing or what, but it was large, and it was free, and there were so many women there, and the networking opportunity, number one, was fantastic. But I think just seeing so many other thriving women, no matter what walk of life they were in, it was diverse. There were young women, there were older women, there were some freebies that we got to go home with as well, nice little goodie bags. But I really like that you said it's sometimes about a strategy, because if we stay stuck in our rooms, we don't get to express ourselves and get what's in our minds out, and it just goes round and round and round, and we've all probably been there. But sometimes we're in that circle that isn't really pushing us, but it's comfortable, and saying that you need to have a strategy to get new friends, whatever, it's like, that sounds like work. It sounds like it's not about friendship. We want to have fun. So what kinds of strategies would you suggest in terms of making genuine connections, to say, hey, look, I'm looking for a job and I need help with this? It's not just I need to use you or your LinkedIn contacts, but it's a genuine connection, maybe a give and take relationship. How do you think people need to go about building those strategies?
So I have a process I use that I share in a bit more depth with my clients. And so if you want to know more, you can give me a call on my WhatsApp number, which is 971 5014. Sorry, gosh, 971 759. I'm having my midlife moments today. I can't remember things, even my telephone number.
We've had a few comments of people asking for it again, so we've just flashed it up on the screen for those of you who are asking in the comments.
No problem.
But yes, it's there for you to remember as well.
Yeah. Gosh, so to answer your question, Kai, there's a process, as I said, that I use with my clients, and it's called the VCP process.
Right.
What does it mean? V stands for visibility. You need to get visible with these women before you actually ask for anything. Remember the so-reap principle, which is about giving and giving again, and then you receive tenfold, right? So
right.
V stands for visibility. How do you get visible with this person? Well, go on their social media, find out more about them, what they're up to, what they're interested in, what they're doing. There's
Right.
also another way that you can do that, which is to pick up the phone, for crying out loud, and say hello. Yeah. Go back to the old-fashioned way of communicating with people.
Absolutely.
And just ask how they're doing. Just see if there's anything you could help them with. Then there's next stage is credibility, the C. How can I become more credible with Kai? Well, certainly it's about serving Kai. Approaching Kai and saying, look, Kai, I noticed that this is something that you're working on, or I've realized that this may help you. Send her an article of interest. Send her a client. Give her a word of scripture. So many people just need an uplift. Send her a YouTube link of a comedy show. I don't know. Get credible with her. Make her understand that you are interested in her, okay? And then you go into profitability. Put money in Kai's bank account, please. If she's an entrepreneur, give her a client. Find a way to bless her with a lead, even that she can make into a client. You might not even know anybody, but you do know people that know other people. Reach out there and try and give her money. Yeah? When you take people through that process, VCP, visibility, credibility, profitability, now you're set. Now you're ready to say, you know what? I'm looking for a new job. I'm looking for a new client. I'm looking to trade in Ghana or Nigeria, or I want to actually relocate to the UK. Now you're in a position, because the foundation of that relationship is solid. That person is now willing to reach out and say, yeah, I'm here. I can help you. You get the meaning of that?
Absolutely. And I think you've mentioned some great gems there, just because, it can be hard to, especially in a fast-paced city like Dubai or perhaps New York or London, especially as we're coming out of lockdowns and things like that. I was in London recently, and people are kind of in their own little hubs and doing what they need to do and just busy being a bit more internal instead of just out there partying, of course, like we used to pre-COVID times. But tapping in and reaching out and just saying, how are you? Are you okay? Because everyone assumes everyone's busy, but actually it just sometimes needs a text or a meme or a smiley face to say, hey, thinking of you. I actually had someone that I didn't think was going to send me that, somebody that I used to work with in terms of mentorship. And they just said, hey, I miss you. And I was like, wow. It was great because we have, the mentor talk and then we have the personal talk. And it's just nice to know that you're thought of, even if it's just, I wonder how such and such is doing. You can think it and leave it as a passing comment as you're washing the dishes, or a passing thought, sorry. But actually, why not just pick up the phone and say, hey, you ran into my mind today. I was thinking of that time that we did XYZ and that song came on. How is business? How is the baby? How is, whatever? And something that I always commend Marcia on, because she's also great at just keeping it in touch with people. She's fantastic on the WhatsApp or picking up the phone. And it used to be something that I strayed away from. I'm great in public, but when I get home, I'm a hermit. I shut the door, I put on the joggers, I get warm, and I like phones and everything to the side. It's all on silent. So when you have someone who says, hey, just checking in, haven't heard from you for a couple of days, you good? Let's have a chat.
Yeah.
That's
Makes a big difference.
a game changer. And
Yeah.
something that I've often heard you say, again, when you've got a room full of giggling women, is that, so many of us are offloading to our partners. And that's not a bad thing. Of course, when you have a relationship where you're able to do that is perfect. But a man is actually a man. And it's not about being masculine or whatever that looks like in your relationship or your bestie. But as women, we wear bras.
There you
And
go.
we support each other like bras support us. And so when you said that kind of metaphor, I was like, aha, there was a great exercise you made us do. Well, not us, but there was a demonstration where I believe it involved some bras and some underpants. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And the moral of the story, because literally seeing it demonstrated in front of you, it sounds like, oh yeah, good point. Okay, next. It's not about a good quote or a good theory. It was the literal visualization of it that literally made so many of us in the room go, that's why we need to build a tribe as women.
Yeah. So when I first started Pearlessence about 5 years ago, I was very, very lonely. I'd been an entrepreneur 10 years prior to that. But when I did this initiative, I was thinking larger than I kind of had ever thought before. And I just didn't have anybody to bounce anything around with. And being a well-endowed young lady, I wear underwire bras. And the thought came to me that without my bra, oh, it's going to get pretty flowing around here. And so I realized that, you know what? I needed my underwired bra, irrespective of what I was thinking. Like, the days when you just want to hang out and just like, it's too hot in the room. I still needed that bra. And
Right.
that's why when I started my business, I continued to realize I needed to gather like-minded women to be around me, because you try and put one breast into a pair of underpants, it will just flop. There'll be no shape, there'll be no definition, and you will not look good in your tops and your dresses, right?
We saw there were a few gentlemen in the room at the time, and you paired some of them up and gave them a bra and you gave them the underpants and was like, have fun, put this on. And it was
Exactly.
hilarious. But at the same time, it's like, no, these underpants really do not support anything
They
at all.
not support anything. And so I say to my ladies, why are you constantly going to these men and begging them to support and listen and hear and listen and hear and listen? They don't have that bandwidth. They love you. Don't get me wrong, but they can't be your opportunity person. They can't be your shared interest. They can't be your support. They can't be your info, and they can't be your mentor. See, I got the 5. Hey, hey, hey. They can't. There's only one of them. They're already going out there, leading, supporting, earning their money, trying to strategize and lead and be and not be pussies, right? They're already doing that, but there you are clawing at them. No, go and find a pair of bras, bra wearers is what I call them. And if they've got a little bit of lining in them, so be it. Soft bras don't really work for me, but everybody's entitled to do what they want.
Fantastic. And trust me, ladies and gents, it was hilarious to see, but honestly, it was such a great visualization for the point, because if we don't stick together as women, it's not about competing. You know, you don't have to, be best friends with everybody, but get out there, not just for your own selfish needs per se, but you mentioned in there about serving. Sometimes you have to serve others, and reaching out to ask where somebody may need help or lend your expertise and serve with your gifts, because there's so many things that right now you have trapped inside if you've not been able to figure out what you want to do or how you can express it better. And there's someone out there in your immediate circles probably who needs what you have. So reaching out and serving is something that can be so, so valuable. And it comes back to you tenfold. Maybe not from the person that you expect it from, especially if you're offloading a lot on the guy and you're giving and giving and giving. Maybe your blessings aren't necessarily going to come from serving there, but they're going to come tenfold from somewhere else. It's about being free and allowing those contacts and those networks to build healthily in other areas for self-preservation. Because if you don't look after yourself, ladies, then what do we have? You
Nothing.
cannot pour from an empty cup. So we
That's
need to build the core circle so that you don't run yourself into the ground. Seriously, you build that, you are unstoppable. So,
And I will encourage you to also remember, you can build it and it can be built, but it will topple. Like that game. What's it called? The tower thing with the little wooden sticks, and you can build it brick by brick. We have one in the
Jenga.
play. Jenga, that's right.
Yeah.
You can build Jenga, and if you don't build it properly, you can just push it and it will crumble. That's why I'm really recommending that you have a strategy to build that core circle. And if you haven't got the strategy, just hook me up. Just give me a little WhatsApp message or a call, and I'd be happy to share what I've been using for over 35 years. Plus, if you are a business owner, do be a part of our sisterhood for influence and impact. There you're going to meet like-minded women who are going to support you so that you won't crumble on the bad days, and that you can stand up on the bad days and just be the best version of yourself and actually make the world a better place with the business that God has laid on your heart.
Fantastic. I love that analogy as well. So how has it been living here for 26 years? So you've been in Dubai the entire time, or have you lived in any other Emirate states whilst you've been building your tribe?
So I've been here 22 years, and I have only lived in Dubai. I started visiting Dubai in the 90s because it was interesting and I'd never been here before. And then I fell in love with Oman because it was a bit villagey, but Dubai was where the action was at. And I just love the fact that it's luxurious. I'm spoilt rotten. I have so many luxuries that I wouldn't have probably been able to afford had I been in Europe. I love the fact that today, for example, it's the open-mindedness and the vibes and the energy that exists here. So today I'm in Zara. I'm actually going to just pick up one item, Kai, one item that I've ordered online. I'm not going to go and have a look through the racks. I've got more than enough in my wardrobe. Oh, lo and behold, do you think I can do that? Hell no. They've got new seasoning. They've got more reductions on the sale items. And so I'm nosing around, and I met this lovely lady called Sonia. Sonia is actually Spanish. We have a great conversation. We talk and bitch about how Zara is so cheap in Europe. And we exchange numbers. And I've sent her a note already to say, let's catch up. Let's have a drink. Her husband works for Volvo. She's not working at the moment, but you can tell she's very vivacious. She wants to do something with her life. Let's have a conversation. So that was the reason why I actually developed this free training program I've got that I'm happy to give to you and your guests. It's called Connecting with Strangers, because it takes you step by step through how you do what I did today with Sonia. It looks easy, but it needs a system. It needs structure, right? And
Listen, I was going to say, in the line of work that I've been in and the events and the connecting people, I've met a lot of people, but over the years, I've gotten much better at it now, but it used to be so overwhelming. So for any of the listeners and watchers who may also be feeling like, with work and with the kids and with so many other things, how do you possibly manage all of that? Now, there are great benefits when you do. And again, I know some people who say, yes, I met Kathy 2 days ago and Kathy's having dinner at my house. And I'm like, how? You just met her. Give it a week or two, but you are on it instantly, and not just yourself, but I do know a few other people who are great at this. And so having that system in place, do you have fun with that? Do you find it like a chore as such, or is it something that's become very natural to you now?
It's like brushing my teeth. I absolutely incorporate it to all aspects of my life, because your next client is the next conversation away. Your next opportunity is your next conversation away. Your next core circle buddy is your next conversation away. And coming back to your original question, what is it about Dubai I like? That is part of it. The fact that everybody is open and willing to have a conversation with you. I was on the beach with my spiritual mentor the other day. I met this gorgeous young man, young enough to be my son, homeless, living on the beach, brought him to church on the Sunday after I'd met him. He was so encouraged, so uplifted. I mean, you don't do things like that in Europe, So, I mean, the openness, the luxurious lifestyle, the ability to build a business from ground zero upwards. I just feel very, very fortunate to have been here for so long as I have been.
Such a great story, and very, very resilient, much like Marcy McLeod as well. And I just think, every time I meet somebody who's been here more than 10 years, it's like, wow, not just myself, but many other people. Fortunately, I can say that I do know many of those people, and I have quite a lot of them in my phone book. But they do get few and far between, especially with, the city being so fast paced and circumstances changing. Sometimes the people are here, just for a short time whilst they have a job. And once that job or contract is over, they're on to the next destination or moving back home. So the fact that you've been here for this duration and you've had the resilience to do so has been great. And maintaining a core circle, even though you have to constantly keep it refreshed. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And as you've mentioned, it's not just for those who have a business. If you are a female and you need to shake up your friendship circles for 2022, we're not saying cut off all your old friends because you're not where you want to be, but we're just saying review your circles, have a look. And the example that we talked about earlier with the exercise, have a look at the people you're spending the most time with right now, the top 5 people you're spending the most of your time. And are you happy with that list? If you're not happy with that list, that's okay. There's still something you can do about it. And now that you are aware, it's time to make the changes to reclaim, reset, and realign, to discover yourself, rediscover again and again, and become the best version of yourself for the new year and beyond. Cordelia, it has been amazing speaking to you. So much fun, and very, very grateful to have you on. And yes, let's put your WhatsApp details for those, just in case you may have missed them one more time. You can get in touch with Cordelia. Just a FYI here, if you are outside of the UAE, you may not know this, but WhatsApp is not available, unfortunately, for WhatsApp calls. So you're very welcome to drop Cordelia a message. Just say, hey, I've seen you on the live. Great hearing you talk. Reach out. Don't delay. Do it now. Take a picture of the screen if you need to. Maybe your pen's not there or you can't be bothered to go get the notepad. Forget it. Take a picture. Memorize the number like we did in the old days. With Cordelia, okay? And of course, any of the other speakers, you can go through our comments and make sure that you connect and click their links, join their groups if you are interested. So Cordelia, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, I have one more little thing up my sleeve for you. So we're going to take a very short break before we wrap up, but we thank you very, very much. And we'll be back after this. Hello, welcome back. It is almost time for us to part and say goodbye, but we have had such a fantastic time. I'm backstage here with the other speakers who have all been on listening to each other talk, reconnect, catch up, or even, talk to each other for the first time. So it is a powerful thing when you reach out to people, whether you know them or you don't. It's something that we just need to get used to doing. It used to be something that kind of scared me, actually, in my friendship circles. I'm usually the bubbly person taking the pictures or giggling away in the background, but around strangers at times I would definitely get nervous. And when I first moved here, it was something that I had to do at events, go out and talk to people and ask them how they're doing. But naturally, of course, I grew in confidence and that got easier and easier. So if it is you listening right now and you're thinking, I can't just walk up to a stranger in Zara and start talking and swap numbers, you might surprise yourself if you just reach out and take action. If you see a hairstyle that they have, if you see a pair of shoes that they have and you like it, give them a compliment. Start the conversation with a compliment and see where it leads. Maybe they say thank you and keep it moving, but maybe it starts on a whole new turn of events, and before you know it, you'll be swapping numbers in no time, building your tribe. You never know where it can take you. So we have our amazing speaker and our moderator for tomorrow, Marcia McLeod. Oh, you're on mute there, darling.
Thank you. What an amazing 3 hours this has been. So many gems and nuggets that have been dropped, amazing comments. It's been good energy today. I'm really, really blessed to be part of such an amazing event.
We've just got a few comments here that I'm going to go through. I think Cordelia is still backstage. We got Cynthia here saying, being part of a global community would help to deal with the fears and apprehensions that come along with doing business and growing careers beyond one's home zone. The confidence factor is critical. Definitely agree with you there, Cynthia. Thank you so much for those of you who have left comments throughout this, who have shared, who have subscribed. If you have found us on Instagram, at Black Girl in Dubai, that is fantastic. We hope to continue our conversations over there with you as well. We have Gloria in Canada who says, when I met my dear sister-in-law Marcia, I was impressed with her global community support. High five to that. Yes, me too, Gloria. I was like, what? You've been there for how long? And you do what? And you just, she makes it look so effortless, doesn't she?
You know what? I realized that, even listening to this today and seeing my sister-in-law's comment, that it's clearly not something that's standard for everyone. It's a thing. And so, I really couldn't have been where I am today without the support of a community. That's without a doubt. And I think just kind of leading on from what Cordelia has said today, when we're conscious about what that community does for us and how it can help serve us, you're sure on a winning streak. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Sorry, I'm just going through a few more of the comments here. We had Rutendo who was saying you've got to connect with the right people. I couldn't agree with you more. Hashtag Black Girl in Dubai. Whoop, whoop. But we also have a comment here from Lydia. And she said, I appreciate that list for my circle, going to be more intentional. Absolutely. I was actually listening to a book recently as well, who was talking about having the millionaire mindset and the millionaire friendship circles around you. And someone in the book was explaining that every year around Christmas, they review their list. And it sounds drastic, but actually, I've heard that more than once where, if you want to be a top XYZ, or if you want to get that promotion or whatever, who are the people that you're conversing with? Who are the people going to help you get that promotion? And as Cordelia mentioned, having that strategy to get there is definitely what you need. So having a monthly or an annual review of your friendship circles is a good way. And then thinking, right, maybe, do I need to pull a lawyer into my circle? Do I need an accountant in my circle? Do I need, a pastor in my circle? Not for anything maybe right now, but that dream or that goal or that vision that you have in the distance, maybe in the next 2, 3, 4 years, the next 10 years, you start planning for that now. And Lydia Andrews, who is our wealth coach, has even also taken note of that as well. So more comments here. Love it from Akua. We have, so I'm trying to figure some small ones here that I can read quickly.
So we've got Grace here. She says, I love that list of 5 friends. Good to look at who we surround ourselves with, which is, 100%.
What are some of the nuggets that have really stuck out for you, Marcia, do you think?
I think when I listen to everyone's stories, I always see that there is a synergy in all that we say, that we need support, we have struggled, we have things that have happened in our lives that actually essentially could inspire someone else. Even after I came off, I had a couple of people reach out to me for various different reasons, whether it was, oh my gosh, I want to be a coach, I want to talk to you, to I want to move to the UAE, how do I get your book? So, just again, I could have not shared my story, just like all these other women that chose to speak today, and I would have not inspired someone to make that step. So I think for me, it's just always remembering that we're not actually that different from each other,
Absolutely. We're all doing, different industry. We're all in different industries doing different things. But ultimately, the trials and tribulations have led us to where we are. And we've been able to, thankfully, turn them into, as you like to say, turn your pain into champagne. I've heard you say that a couple of times, and you really do need to figure out, okay, this isn't something I can change, but there is something that I can do about something else. How do I process this? How do I deal with this? Does it mean I need to sit in silence? Does it mean I need to quit everything and walk away for just a couple of minutes, just a couple of days, just a few weeks and revisit it? It's about having that self-awareness and that dialogue, and then keep going forward, because you don't just give up and stop and quit. That's why we are calling it Reclaim, Reset, and Realign.
Yeah.
And what can we expect tomorrow, Marcia? We have
my goodness, you put me on the spot. So we have the wonderful Akua, who is actually also a personal friend of mine. So I'm super, super excited to hear her share her story about how she has navigated from an employee to a CEO and founder of her own company, where she will go on to inspire and uplift other people. Also, who else do we have? We have, God, you need to help me here because my brain is also a bit foggy. My goodness. Who else do we have tomorrow? Come on.
I was
Oh,
going to say,
we have you.
Opening. And we have the amazing, energetic EJ.
EJ, of course.
Talking to us about how we can really turn some of our talents into something that people can hear and watch. She is a content creator, and she will be talking to us about podcasting and many other things. If you've been here from the start, you would have seen her ad run earlier, where she actually helps you create your very own podcast. And just in general, from audiobooks to wanting to get into the more audiovisual area, EJ is the one that you can actually tap into. So she is someone that you definitely don't want to miss tomorrow.
And then, of course, we have the wonderful Kai, who will be talking about how you can alter your mindset and build your confidence. So again, she'll be sharing her story about things that happened to her when she arrived in the UAE and how she has been able to transform her life. So I am looking forward to connecting with you all tomorrow, hoping that you are all going to be available to tune in. Remember, share with your friends. We all need to be in this together. At the end of the day, it takes a village.
We are so grateful for all of you who have been here from the beginning, or perhaps you've just jumped in at the end. Maybe you had to go to work or do something, you've got commitments, but we are really, really grateful. So please do keep sharing as you have been with friends, with family, with a colleague who needs this. We are back tomorrow, same time, same place, same link. So if someone does want to register, they can do so. They will get the email tomorrow. And of course, be in touch with future updates and nuggets and gems that we have to share as well. So reclaim, reset, realign, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
And
you.
don't forget
Bye-bye.
to subscribe.
Your Mind Matters, a 12-day self-paced course with daily inspiration, tasks, and meditation to build your confidence and mindset. Join a community of like-minded individuals where you can share and grow together. Alongside the 12-day course, you'll receive access to a private community, key gems of inspiration, prompts and activities, as well as exclusive updates. Join the next intake starting 1st of February 2022. Shift your mind, connect with others, and thrive together. Because to be your best, your mind matters.